We're back with some more One Piece discussions. I know you guys are waiting for this one. We got chapter 1153 here with us today. But before we get into that, we got some volume changes for the next volume of One Piece. Yeah.
Oh.
You're gonna love this part.
Uh-huh.
Of course, Oda went back. He fixed a lot of the mistakes at the beginning of Elbaf, but he fixed something that I wouldn't even say is a mistake, but Oda just omitted it time and time again.
Okay. What was it?
And this changes, I'm not even joking, this changes a lot. And I'm going to be talking about this in the next couple of videos as well. But Gunko has a celestial dragon family name.
What?
Yeah.
He just didn't put it in?
She is Saint Gunko ... Can you guess what the family name is?
So it's someone.
He didn't put it in.
So it's someone we know.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Crazy, huh?
Then it's not Don Quixote.
Take a guess. Take a gander.
It's not Don Quixote.
Not Don Quixote, no.
Okay. Is it Gorosei?
Keep on going. No, not Gorosei.
Oh, okay, so then it's the other guy is not Rosinante, not Rosewald. What's his family?
No.
Damn, wait.
Not them either.
We got that many celestial dragons? Wait, so it's not Don Quixote.
We do.
Not Gorosei. It's what, for Garland? No way.
No, not for Garland.
Then we have the Killingham, and then there's Shepherd. Wait, what are we? Oh,
there's one
Myanmar?
more. Yes.
Not Myanmar.
Gunko is Gunko Manmeyer.
Myanmar.
Yes. So Oda added in Gunko's family name. And it's not just Gunko. I think her name is like Gunko Sei, or not Sei. Sei is like the male honorific, but she does get, it's Gunko Gu. So she does get the Celestial Dragon honorific as well.
Well, it's a good thing I never posted those videos.
Yeah, which very much so changes the Gunko backstory and the perception around it. Because at first it was like, oh, is she like a regular girl that got kidnapped? But now, no, we know that she's actually part of the Manmeyer family. So now it's like, wait, Brooke, like, what was the connection there? Like, was she really like the family of this like royal kingdom? And they eventually joined the WG. Like how did that all happen?
So does she have the Saint title?
Yes, she does. Okay,
so it's Saint and the Manmeyer name were added.
Yeah, Saint Manmeyer Gunko is, I believe, what it is. Or it's like vice versa.
That's a huge thing. That's not
she's got the full thing. That is a major thing.
Yeah, and
it's not even like a mistake. It's like a genuine like omittance, right?
Yeah, that's a weird one to grapple with because like what you said earlier, like Oda could have just done it later rather than, because now again, like I was joking, I've been on a hiatus. One of the videos I had considered making was, hey, what's up with Gunko not having the same title? What could this possibly mean? And I'm sure at least like if your weekly creators at least created at least 2 videos related to Gunko, either her origins or her saint title. And now Oda just is like, oh no, I just forgot to put it in this
multiple times, because Gunko is one of the few characters that had like 2 or 3 introduction boxes.
Is that an intern fault?
Oda just left it out.
That sounds...
I don't know.
That sounds like...
I mean...
Editor.
It could be like a last minute Oda change even, right?
Well, now maybe it's... Because like... there's so many things we've talked about how Oda divides up the work and stuff like that. And I don't know, like I've never seen him say like, yeah, I like go over the text bubbles. That seems like something he gives to his editors to be like, hey, here's a name for like the name card or whatever. And then an editor who's in charge with all the narrator bubbles takes care of that, puts it in. It sounds like one of those, but that's such an odd thing to think, like that someone like dedicated to it would even miss that, because it's like it was such a stark... She was the first one introduced of that. I mean, against a Shamrock, right? But like, and again, like you said, multiple times. That's so wild, huh?
And you want to hear something crazier too?
What?
Well, not crazier. There's another change, And this is one I think we kind of, I mean, at least I coped with it pretty well. But Shamrock officially also has the Saint title too. Because people were saying, oh, like, Shamrock isn't a saint because when he was introduced, it didn't have the Saint Shamrock for Garland.
Oh, that one.
Yeah, and then for me, yeah, I was like, well, I mean, he's the son of the Garland. I mean, it's obvious he's a saint, but people were like, but they didn't drop the distinction. So I mean, I could see why people were hung up on it. So I'm not like harsh on that one. But I always kind of just figured that, yeah, they just left it out because it'd be really redundant. But for Gunko, that's like a massive change. Because beforehand, it was always just Gunko. You know, no family name, no son of or daughter of, just boom, Gunko. But yeah, now we have Saint Gunko Manmeyer.
Yeah, it might have been like, you said the honorific is like Goo, Gunko Goo. Yes. It might have been like the person thought it was like a typo, like the goo or something like that, and then.
But the thing is, apparently, like all the celestial dragon females have the goo, so it's like I don't know.
Yeah,
what are they doing, man?
That's a weird one. Because like I'm again with you on the part where Oda didn't need to do it that way. He could have just like, hey, she's Manmeyer, and it's like, whoa, we found out her family name. That's crazy. And then like, I think the only one that would have needed to been on the record corrected would be Saint, because that the family name you could introduce later. You know, we still don't know the main characters' last names. Nami, Usopp, like Brook, like we don't know their last names. So, you know, that's not a big deal. But the Saint one, that one was crazy. I will admit, I did go pretty hard in that video that, you know, a shadow boxing, but you know, I still think that there's merit to it. It just wouldn't. It's funny because I forget. I think I told you a little bit. It was like a Ginny Gunko, like it was on stream. I was talking about those two. But I remember talking about like, yo, I was like out here shadow boxing every YouTube comment for the Gunko thing, because so at that point so many theories were out there like, oh my god, Gunko is Ginny's daughter, Ginny's sister, Bonnie's twin, like all those things, right?
Oh yeah, that defeats the Ginny clone theories. Yeah,
all of them. And which, again, my theory was that she was none of those. That was the premise of that video, which is why I'm saying that, like, you know, as far as the Manmeyer thing, it's just like, I was always more concerned about the Saint thing too, because like that Saint title is such a huge like omittance. I emphasize so many times, like, why would Oda leave out this one character Saint title? Turns out he never meant to. he reread
question mark.
Yeah, he read the things like, the fuck, wait, I swear this bitch is a saint.
I don't know, man, that's such a big thing to leave out. I feel like it was maybe just a last minute change. Oh, that's so weird.
Yeah, but
that's a hard one.
You'd also imagine, right, like I'm Oda, I have a board of editors that, you know, they do, for example, Shanks's arm being taken off in the first chapter was an editor's like suggestion / advice, and Oda went with it from the first chapter. That's day one, technically, One Piece Oda. Like I go to my current day 20-year tested group team, and I get, hey guys, I just noticed I forgot to put Saint in Manmeyer Gunko in the thing. And like the editors and Oda felt it was necessary for the volume to have that in hindsight, like that is meaningful, right? So like the Saint one I can get. The Manmeyer, you know, they could have held off on that one. I think they could have split it, honestly, and it would have looked less confusing. You know, because then if it was just like, oh, we forgot to add the Saint title, you know, there's like a small thing. Okay, but the family name too? That's kind of crazy. That's kind of wild. Which also, because again, I was thinking like, dude, what family names did we even get introduced? If it's not Gorosei, if it's not this, I literally went down the list, and then the last ones were the God Valley. I think there was the Manmeyer, and then there was one other, right? That was outside of the
I don't think so. I think it was just Manmeyer.
It's just Manmeyer. Yeah, so then like that's even more crazy, because Oda specifically introduced the Manmeyer family in God Valley to tie
and in the live action.
Oh, in the live action. What do you mean?
Yeah, we talked about it before, but in season 2, which is unreleased right now, but they released pictures of like the set,
Mm-hmm.
and Man Meyer actually owns like a clothing district within Logtown.
Oh, I like
So
that.
so we're feeling the Man Meyer presence everywhere.
I like that.
And Gunko is Man Meyer.
That's a cool detail. Like to have the celestial dragons, like it kind of is weird for the world because like I don't know who chose, Oda's like, yeah, whatever, doesn't affect this, but like,
yeah.
you like the way the world's set up is that like they don't have to work. They don't need the money. Like they're different than Doflamingo. Like they literally tax the world.
They got a passion for clothing though, Par.
Yeah, so that's what's interesting because I'm not mad at it, but it is interesting given like the celestial, like they're so disconnected from the world that like owning a clothing store. But we got some real world celestial. I mean, I think it's like the 3 of the top 10 richest people in the world are clothing brand CEOs / owners. So fits the bill.
If the shoe fits, brother,
Yeah.
The shoe fits. So yeah, big changes there, and those are just the beginning of the changes as well. Apparently, there's going to be more as the volume gets released to the public.
They're rolling changes.
Well, not rolling. It's like a leaked change. Sandman's the one who initially posted that, but there's going to be more.
I thought it was like
that we'll hear about here in a
college. I was like, damn, rolling admission.
Oh,
bro.
No. We're just starting slow. Like I think in the next couple of days we should get the SBS. I'm assuming like maybe tomorrow we'll start getting SBS questions and answers,
Ooh.
and then we'll start getting like a more compiled list of every volume change from what we had on Viz and TCB all the way to what we have officially now from the Japanese raw quotation marks. But yeah, good stuff, man. Crazy way to start this this video. Just hey, by the way, all those theories about Gunko being X, Y, or Z, yeah, they're cooked.
Yeah, very cooked.
Yeah, they're gone. Hard cooked. Oda just flipped the script.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny, thinking back to it. I think even I don't remember like my take on Gunko. I think I just figured she was like a slave that they. Oh yeah, I thought that she was a slave that they eventually just built up to be a soldier of war. But now it's like, wait a minute, she's from a CD family, huh?
Yeah.
And then Brooke is hanging out with the man Myers 90 years ago. Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
That changes a lot.
I'm remembering there was like 3 different theories. I told like Dax, I told 3-Day, and I told you different ones. And the one I told you was the Ginny one. And so because like my main thing was that disagreeing with like all the clone, all the daughter, all the twins, like all that stuff. And you were there too. You were also on the boat. And it was for us, it was mainly like, okay, is she a new celestial dragon or is she someone should we have met? We just didn't highlight, like, and then if yes, how does the origin make sense? And then also this was before the whole Brooke thing, I'm pretty sure too. Like I think it was maybe we just got the underwear, like not the underwear, the song, sorry, not the underwear. The underwear came off of the song. Well, it didn't come off, they stayed on. But point is, it was around then. And yeah, it was I'm pretty sure you were on that front. It was like something I think I mean at this point there's no point in like hiding. It was my thing was like maybe she was a winner of one of the cleansing events or something. That'd be the way that she would be recognized by celestial dragons, but not have the saint title. And the not having the saint title is still important because while making that video, I didn't really notice this. I like it's such a small detail, but it's worth mentioning, which is that like when the Don Quixote family left, one of the ways they stripped their saint title was they took a chip from them. They took like and what's interesting about that is that just before that they still called him saint, but then after that they stopped referring to him by a name and they just went like you're on your own. Like they stopped using the saint name entirely right after the chip, which is pretty pretty interesting. I believe that's also in chapter, I think it's 762, 763, which is for people who were like on the stream. It was like, wait, how did Par remember this chapter where Doflamingo's eye is shown? That's why. Surprise, I knew that because I was working on a video recently. Well, this was like 2 months ago or 3 months ago, but still remember the chapter. But yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. Manmeyer. Shout outs.
Shout outs to the Manmeyer family. Definitely going to be very important now.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah, the hot dog family.
Yeah, no denying it.
Yeah, I wish they didn't do clothing. They should have been selling like hot dogs. Hot dogs are my biggest ops, so that would have been perfect.
No, I feel like for hot dogs, we'll save that for the young cooks.
The young cooks. So do
Whenever
you
we
think
see
the
more of them,
person
yeah.
in the flashback, in the God Valley flashback, do you think that's like Gunko's mom?
No, they look kind of young, right? We don't really see them, but like their face looks young, no wrinkles. They looked really happy to be there. I feel like that could be like Gunko's niece or nephew.
Oda did cover the eyes on this Manmeyer person.
Oda did cover the eyes. I mean, it could even be, we don't know much about celestial dragons. It could be the mom, and then the mom like got eternal youth by trading Gunko in, which would be kind of crazy. Like, hey, like, my daughter's been really bad. Why don't you guys take her and do whatever you want with her, and then I'll just have eternal youth. Like, that could be it. I mean, now, like I said, this may seem insignificant to some people, but it really does change the way theories are going to go around Gunko now.
Yeah.
And funny enough, this changes Brooke's backstory, too.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Like, it definitely it gives Brooke's backstory, like, a new layer of code.
That name should...
Like, my God.
Should register for Brooke. Like, that's very different than... like Luffy doesn't know Garland. Most people don't know what Shepherd and... Killingham. What's Killingham? No, Killingham is the family name, right?
Remo Shifu. Killingham is Remo Shifu.
Oh, that one. Yeah. Like, those names are not common names. It'd be like, like a lot of people had the theory that Nasujiro was from Wano. And so, like, I was choosing a Wano name, right? Like, if he had a Wano family name, like Amatsuki, for example, that would be, like, sort of what we're treading here with Brooke, like, knows this family's from his kingdom type. Like, we're gonna learn like a progression of like elevating oneself to celestial dragon one way or another. That at least that's consistent with the changes. People were probably contemplating, how did Gunko get to this position from that Brooke flash, or that flashback with Brooke, so that she's from here. Was she a celestial dragon before, or did her family become a celestial dragon? And I think, like, more or less the consensus was like her family ended up becoming it, especially with the backdrop of like Harold and stuff going on in the main story. So that's pretty interesting to play with. This is huge.
Yeah, excited for more Gunko stuff now.
Yeah, what if Brooke's last name is Manmeyer?
Dude, that'd be so nuts. Manmeyer Brooke.
Yeah. That'd be...
I mean, he's a knight, so maybe not. I feel like... I don't know. I feel like typically if you're nobility, you don't have to fight in war.
That's true.
Not always the case, but, we'll see. But now that we got that out of the way, we have to get on to something super exciting. You're going to not believe this, but... this week, you might have missed it, but we got volume 37 of Yamato's Pilgrimage, dude. Oh, man, I love this. I love seeing everybody's reaction to this. Like, week after week, everybody gets more and more jaded by this cover page story. It's like a damn Dementor. It's just sucking the soul out of people, man. I'm watching the light fade out of every Yamato fan's eyes.
Dude, the haters are right.
Oh.
The haters are right, and I just want to say, we sounded like some good-ass haters for this cover story. That's all I'm going to say. There was a time when you and we would, like... I'm not going to say cosplay, but, like, we would, like... You would like it and be like, no, it has a lot of great potential. And this is early on. It's like 19, 18, whatever. and I'd be like, nah, this shit's gonna go down the gutter. I don't know what Oda's thinking. But then, I'm hopeful, but I'm just like, it's scaring me. And I think like I kept on saying it, I kept on comparing it to the Germa flashback. Because this comes right after it, right? And this is Yamato. Yamato is objectively way cooler than Germa as like a community reception.
1,000,000%.
Yeah, like if you like you could put a poll right now and we already know the breakdown. There's probably gonna be like 3% Germa or something. Maybe there's some like neo N-words up there. Putting up the other N-word, the other one that YouTube also doesn't like either.
What's the other N-word?
This one.
Yeah, shout outs, man.
Yeah, that maybe they like Germa a lot more than Yamato.
I was wondering. I was like, wait, who are you talking about?
That was pretty funny because you were cosplaying him on my stream last time. But anyways, point is that
I was not cosplaying Hitler.
You literally the fucking hand thing. I do the Hail Hitler, like the exercise.
Yeah, sorry, that's the name of the exercise for shoulders, man.
I don't know what your
teachers
in Oklahoma taught you. They're not called the Hail Hitlers. What the fuck?
It is. You throw up your hand like this, and you have a cable.
Time for your daily Hail Hitlers. And a 1 and a 2.
Yeah, imagine like a DVD. A DVD with like a bunch of middle-aged moms. All right, women, time to stretch them shoulders. Time to Hitler. That's so funny, dude.
Oh my god, that's woo.
But yeah, I mean it's a real shoulder workout. Thank you very much. I mean, my shoulders aren't there anywhere close yet, but I mean, just know one day I'll be thanking him for this.
It's funny because when you said it, I knew immediately what the workout was, which lends itself to the fact that it's unironically a decently appropriate name. It's just not an appropriate name objectively, so that's the difference, right? But yeah, what I realized about this cover story is that like the Germa cover story, like when you think about it, it got animated. Like the Van Auger, Kuzan, that cover story moment, like those things got put into the anime. I'm looking at this. Don't bring it into anime. Stop it. Go to another cover story.
No, bring it in, yo, Toei.
Like
Toei? I heard you've been doing some filler.
This is so.
Why not bring in the Yamato cover page story? Make everybody's day.
This is like the thing is, you could put it all in one episode at this point, right? Like nothing's really happened. And then the climactic moment was Yamato one-shotting Who's Who. So like even in that regard, like how like you can't make that look as cool as the way Kuzan, like Van Auger shot through Cracker's biscuit men, and everyone's like, oh my god, this took Luffy hockeyed up armament gear for, and Van Auger just pistol shoots through them. What the hell? And then Kuzan just straight sends us to another dimension. Like you can't, like, unless we're gonna give Yamato some like JJK domain expansion and like add some random bullshit. Did she even transform? She didn't even transform in that fight. She didn't use her devil fruit. She didn't use the cold or anything. Like, yeah, there's nothing. No, there's not been a single, like, prior to that, Hold'em's got the drop on Yamato. She got outran by someone we don't even know who outran her yet. Like, there's just some garbage. She fought Sukune. I guess you know what's crazy? The Sukune fight is probably more amped up than the Who's fight at this point. She fought the Yokozuna. That's the highlight fight. That's kind of crazy now you think about it.
I mean, you're not wrong. Yeah.
Yeah, he probably took more time. Damn, Sukune over Who's Who is a crazy.
Yeah, but I mean, Yamato had to nerf herself for Sukune, though, right? It's a sumo fight. You can't just use the Kana. If Yamato used the Kana against Sukuna,
that's true.
Then he'd be cooked.
But what if you gave?
Which I'm just calling him Sukuna at this point.
Yeah. Well, what if we gave Sukuna the Kanabo? Like it was equally clashing.
Oh, yeah, no, he would die.
He goes, I was
His combo would
Kaido's
shatter.
dark disciple, and he pulls out the lightning bagua. Like, that'd be kind of crazy, you know?
Ooh, Thunder Bagua would be different. Ooh, the Rain Bagua.
Yeah. Something like the storm bagua. You're just one thunder, I'm the host.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hellfire Bagua. And then we learn that Sukune has like some Kaido DNA in him.
Oh no.
Like, actually, in my childhood, my mom was visited by Kaido many a times, and that's how I was born.
Yeah, that's how the two Yokozunas. I forgot the Yokozunas. I forgot the other guy's name.
Urushima.
Yeah, him. Like, yeah, they that's how, because they have Kaido blood. That'd be crazy. Wait a second, that's actually kind of nuts. I was thinking.
I'm surprised there's not like a village of Kaidos, man.
I don't disagree with you. That's actually
Like,
reality too.
You know, yeah, it's like, okay, you know, you got Kaido, he's taken over an island. He's not a good guy morally. Like, if you told me that he had a village of just kids that are just running around that has his DNA like Genghis Khan, I'd believe
Like, we
you.
should be.
You know, would it be that crazy?
We should be. That's unironically Genghis Khan's. Oh no, that would be making the other people Genghis Khan, I guess. Like, against Genghis Khan's origin story. Apparently, that he was like just a normal farmer dude, and then his like wife got kidnapped. So then he raised an army, and then he's like, "Wait, I'm fucking cracked." And then he just kept doing it, and yeah, I think he made it a law in Mongolia in war. It's like a war crime to steal women. That's a war crime, like in Mongolia. So he set that apparently. You guys can validate that. I don't really know, but I was gonna go the other route, which was that Sukune is Kaido's damn, what's his name? Kizaru's little the defense kid. Fuck. Sentomaru. Yeah. Like he goes like, I have the best defense in the world. And then like that's like he learned it from Kizaru, and Kizaru has the best defense, whatever, and he taught it to Sentomaru. It would be funny if Kaido went around teaching like certain people his techniques. Grow up one day and you'll become as strong as me, little kid. And then that was Sukune and his brother, Urashima.
Yeah. We get like a little flashback, and Kaido would walk past like Yamato's jail cell and go straight to Sukune and Urashima.
Yeah, if
like we have a scene of like, you know how King Harald has his arm stretched out, like, oh, Loki, hearted, protect Elbaf one day. Like, what if he does that? We get that, but Kaido and it's Urashima and Sukune.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be so sick.
Yeah, like you know, if reality
the kids Kaido always wanted
were to filter in a little bit too, like a real messed up version of One Piece. So Oda does do dark themes, but he doesn't do like in your face, like, I mean he does like the Ginny, but like even that he like put degrees of separation in to that darkness, and he's always done that, and he's like, it makes the gravity of like when Oda like reveals it, but things like Viola and Doflamingo, right? Like he has revealed it, but even then he was like, you guys can put two to two together. When a guy like Doflamingo ends up running a place for that long, and he's with this, historically, this is what that happens with, and boom, 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 right? And so if we were to apply that to Kaido, the real reason to keep Kinemon alive would be that he'd be having to raise like a half child that his wife had to mother because of Kaido. Like that would, if Kinemon was the main character and he survived because we gave him the main character plot armor, that would be his storyline. It would be all the years that have gone by, and unfortunately his wife was a concubine to Kaido, and he has a son, the prophesized child, and that's, Kinemon has to raise Kaido's son and teach him the ways of the Bushido, right?
That'll be nice. Yeah. Oda could get, like I said, Oda could get darker if he wanted to, man. People saw the Ginny flashback, they said this is the darkest One Piece has ever been. But my reaction was, we can get even darker, though.
I mean, he definitely is gonna get darker. It's just, It's kind of like a
You think so?
cascade. He's like tipping. He's like dipping us into the swimming pool. Except like now it's like our whole goddamn leg, and like this chapter,
Yeah.
it's not the same darkness, but it is like heart wrenching, you know. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so since we're still on the cover page story, how'd you feel about Cho making an appearance here?
How do you feel? I didn't feel. I literally looked at this cover page, and this is probably the most dismissive I've been of a cover page. In the Yamato cover story, I'm trying to think. The only other one was like the after, ulti page 1 asking to join the crew. It was like they are all celebrating, and it was literally so. It was. I literally said, "What are they gonna do next chapter? Are they just gonna have all the parties show like the women are going this way, the people are going that way, and Yamato's talking like?" And then that's just what happened. And so like I was dismissive of that, but at least on that one, I could at least laugh about that one random dude holding Husu's like hat, and then like joking about the reality or the theoretical possibility that they beheaded Husu, and they were just like throwing his head around, like just some goofy shit. I can't even do that.
Just having fun with it.
Like the most we did was like, "Yo, Kiku likes wet socks. Like, why is she jumping outside the house with socks on? Like, seems like pretty bad idea. You have to do laundry."
I mean, we could talk about Cho a little bit. I mean, the impact that the Yakuza bosses had on Onigashima, their impact now in Wano, their role. Like, I feel like the Yakuza members are such an untapped market when it comes to theory crafting. And, you know, I want to pass the question on to you, the master of theories. How do you see Cho progressing from here on out with the other Yakuza members? Like, are you high on them? Or do you think that they... Because there have been people that have been shepherding and heralding the theory that the Yakuza bosses, Cho being one of them, will bring Pluton to the final war. Do you even know the other Yakuza boss names?
Hyogoro is one of them.
Yeah, but we don't count Hyogoro because he's he's a different caliber of Yakuza
I know
boss.
what they look like. There's one that looks like a cat bear like wide dude with like a thing. And then there's that one, isn't there that one that like sort of looks like a ghostly stick version of Sanji? And then there's Cho, and then there's Hyogoro, and then there's one more. And I think that last one is the more regular one of them. And I could be completely wrong, but let's...
Okay. No, you're right. You're right. So the guy at the very end you're thinking about, he's known as Snake Eyes Yatape.
Okay.
He has purple hair. He has a sword like Zoro, and he has a little kimono like Zoro as well.
Yep.
And then as far as the Sanji stick figure guy, he actually has a full-on epithet. He is known as the Broken Hat Sunagoro.
Two.
And then don't forget, the Cat Bear Man, they call him Blood Riding Omasa.
Damn.
Because the minute he shows up, the writing's on the wall, along with your blood.
Bro, I said cat bear looking guy. I was spot on. This shit.
You were spot on. You said that, and I was like, wow, Par, he kind of cooked, man. He's not wrong.
Yeah.
And then Cho, in case you forgot her epithet, she is known as the Moonlit Flower.
I feel bad saying that Yatape was the most regular looking one when Cho's in this list. But like... I maybe that's like the misogynistic part. Like I just for whatever reason I didn't. I already dismissed her.
You didn't count her?
I already dismissed her as far as like because she's in this thing. So when I was thinking the other ones,
and we apparently even have a Yakuza boss who was concepted in like the concept art or conceived in the concept art, but he never made it to the actual story. And his name was Kurokoma. Yeah, Kurokoma. He was the Yakuza boss of the Flower Capital, but he did not make it into the final story, which is kind of funny. He was shown in the Road to Laugh Tale and just never again. Rest in peace, my man.
Hey, he was mentioned in chapter 960.
Oh, was he really?
That's what it says.
Oh, he was. Yeah, wait, okay. At least 42 years ago, Kurokoma developed an ambition to take down Hyogoro and planned to use the cub of the mountain god to lure the beast to fulfill. Oh, he was like the originator of that scheme.
Yeah, he's
okay.
he's Kinnimon's backstory.
Yeah, he ties into Kinnimon's backstory. Well, he kind of looks like Kinnimon if you guys ever want to look
Which
him
makes
up.
sense.
Kudokoma.
Because Kinnimon was
Huh.
betraying a gang, or the gang in here, by stealing that boar, not realizing that the boar
so it's
was a target to sabotage. The whole point was to give the cub to Hyogoro, and then Mountain God would take on Hyogoro. But then Kinnimon stole it, and then they were like, "No, this guy's an idiot." And then Odin mogged everybody, said, "Give me that baby," and then killed the dad or mom right in front of the baby. And then they stitched the mom back together somehow. Still questionable on that front, but it happened. It's a thing.
Yeah, I mean, now that we're, giving the Yakuza bosses their flower, how do you feel about that really popular theory that the Yakuza bosses will lead Pluton to the final war and save the Straw Hats?
First, tell me how popular this theory is.
Oh, dude, everybody's talking about it. Have you not heard about it?
No, I haven't. Yeah, this is the first I've heard.
Yeah, I mean, coming from a guy that's living in the basement, The Rock. I mean, it's not surprising that you haven't heard this theory, Par. I mean, you what was the last theory video that you posted on your channel? Like 2 years ago? Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. You're kind of far away from the theory realm right now, but let me just tell you, Par, everybody's talking about this.
Just keep in mind, Sai introduced me into the subject saying, "Since you're the master of theories." And then he comes out like, "Since you're kind of far off the realm of theories, do you even know what a theory is? Can you spell it? Can you use it in a sentence?" Like,
hey, I'm just saying, man. I wanted to hype you up, but now you're showing your true colors. But yeah, I mean, jokes aside, though, these Yakuza bosses are very useless. I wouldn't say useless. I would just say that if they weren't in the story, or if we just like never showed them again, I don't think it would matter.
So useless.
Yeah. No, not useless, but if they just died tomorrow, nobody would care.
If we use them less, I wouldn't care. They're useless.
No, useless is such a charged word, Par. I'd rather say something more, clean.
I like how it's funny.
Something more nice.
Yeah, using them less, it doesn't necessarily mean useless, but here, bro, it's synonymous with these guys. Like, the thing is, the reason why I say they're useless also is there actually is a reason, because the whole point of the Yakuza in real world, and it should be the case here, is they are organized crime that hates when unorganized crime steps on their turf. And so how does who's who go unchecked while the Yakuza are active? The whole point of the Yakuza is so they, like, when Inarashi goes, "Man, I'm the righteous leader of the public during the daytime. Oh man, there's this crime going on. I don't know what's going on. I'm gonna ask my Yakuza person." That's what the Yakuza literally are. And then the Yakuza do the illegal shit of start interrogating people, start busting down doors. Who is this? Who's taking down the people? That's because the politician can't do that. That's what the gangsters are for. And so here we have it. Inurashi's like, damn, I have a designated Yakuza leader for my region. As we just talked about, Kurokomo's for the flower capital. That means that he was working with Sukiyaki. The whole point of that is there wouldn't be a question of who's taking the people, and it wouldn't be that hard to find a giant headquarters with the guy's face on it in the middle of the region. That's why I say they are useless, because they are as a functional group of the Yakuza, they're failures. There's no shot that people would be able to steal women that brazenly and not even have like an iota of notice. I'm not saying that they need to take down who's who. I'm saying that if they mattered at all in the dynamics of Wano, they would have been there earlier, because they would hate the people they're taxing and whatever through their gang stuff getting kidnapped. They would be very against that. So it's pretty funny, because like literally what the Yakuza is, like anti-unorganized crime. That's what the Yakuza are.
Do you think that these guys are strong? Because
Yeah.
I mean, we know the answer. No, we know the answer. They're not strong, but
I think they're
when
strong.
you first saw them in Wano, shut up. When you first
No,
saw
I know,
them
I
in
do.
Wano,
It's just like,
stop.
no, I do.
You do not think. Okay, how strong
This
do you
is
think
where
they
the
are?
disrespect comes in.
How
Because they
strong?
have to be. Like, Hyogoro's old, but when they were literally like, Hyogoro was like Hyogoro was out there, like in his like ice demon, Oni demon, ice Oni, sorry, prime form, and all the samurai, the young samurai, were like, "Ain't no way, bro." They were looking at him as if he was Loki. Like, he was like, I'm about to die.
Okay, but you can't use Hyogoro as a point to say all the other Yakuza are strong too. Because you could say that, what if I did that for the Vice Admirals? Oh, are the Vice Admirals strong? Oh, I mean, Garp. And did you see Garp and Hachinosu with Galaxy Impact? I mean, he's a Vice Admiral. Well, you can't use Hyogoro as your main point when we have outliers all the time.
But what you know, the other part is that let me see. Do the other ones even fight?
You're going through the wiki. Do these guys even do anything?
Yeah.
Well, what do they actually
Like,
do?
I thought Yatape
That's
does
crazy.
something, but
Dude, they literally do nothing but get infected by Ice Oni, and again, still
I
do
want to
nothing.
read, because I just want to show everyone I'm not alone on this. This is what the wiki says for Yatape. Yatape wielded a katana during the Onigashima raid, so it can be assumed he's proficient with it. That's so funny.
It can be assumed. It can be assumed he knows how to use a katana, but we have no clue.
That's so
it's just a theory of ours.
Dude, that is amazing. Like, I would go as far as, like, I want to know what the maybe God, what was his name at Udon prison? Like, the guards, the headliners, did they have a reaction to the Yakuza? Like,
no, wait, Par. They should have a reaction, because I'm looking at Yatape's epithet origins, and if you go down to trivia, it says his epithet is derived from his sharp, snake-like gaze, which makes it hard for people to move when he glares at them. Dude, this is Loki. Wait, this guy's essentially Loki. He has purple hair too. Is this like Loki's, is this
prototype.
his original design or something?
Yeah, this is the prototype.
Yeah, it's his prototype.
Yatape,
Snake Eyes Yatape. My God. What's funny about Snake Eyes as well is that is Zoro's grandfather's name, right? Pinzoro, which means Snake Eyes as well.
True.
Yeah.
True. Except,
so this guy, when you look at Yatape, you can relate him to Zoro and Loki. He's in the same vein. I will admit, I've always thought it was a little bit odd that whenever somebody mentions Zoro and Loki, Yatape is always brought up. Now I know why.
Yeah, always brought up. Hold on.
Always brought up.
Let me see what Hyogoro says. Hyogoro says something about, I think he says there's some other really strong people here. He was once the greatest Yakuza boss in all time, in all of Wano.
I like how you're looking up information just to hype up these losers.
Oh, here it is. The rage of the country is gathered thick and heavy in here. The Yakuza leaders who once supported Wano from the shadows are all held at this prison. If I send out the word, they would all gladly fight for the sake of the Kozuki. Okay, so he said fight. He didn't say, like, fight well. Damn. Like,
yeah, they're gonna throw their lives down, but it won't mean
so
much.
What I was saying before was that I think that they're not old like Hyogoro, so I think that they're stronger than the unnamed samurai, like 99% of Onigashima's force from Wano. You know what I mean? Like, but they're below Scabbard, but like above, like, maybe even like a named person. You know what I mean? They should be able to dispatch Sukune, right? Like, I think that in a fight they would be able to beat Sukune? Yes. But, like, maybe not in a sumo wrestle, but like you said, with Kanabo, Yamato would, wipe, same thing. I feel like that's not that crazy to think about. Like, they are Yakuza leaders, but what does that really mean? I don't know. And here's the other thing also is that they were contemporaries with the one, the only Ashura Doji, the Yakuza leader from Kuri. And we know how strong he was. So, you know, and Curry's like whatever compared to what, like, Ringo, right? Right? Like, Udon, Curry, right? Like, this guy, these guys?
Dude. What they should have done, honestly, if they wanted to really put respect on the Yakuza name, this is going to sound blasphemous, but I think this is the least Oda could have done these guys. But they should have gone up to the rooftop, too.
Stop.
No, dude. I mean, the scabbards went up there. Like, imagine, you know, Kaido's just looking down, like, oh, is that Yakuza boss Ocho? Is that Tsunagoro? Yatape? I thought I locked you all away.
It's like how they edited Killer out of the thing and put Sanji up there. Let's edit Kid out and then put these guys in there, right?
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, like, they didn't even have a big impact on Onigashima. I mean, the same goes for the Oniwabanshi, right? They're another group that Oda brought in that just kind of didn't matter, minus the main leader. Which, funny enough, you know, just like the Yakuza, right? Hyogoto's like the headliner, but I wish that the Yakuza did do something like, oh, you know, these Yakuza, they defeated all of the gifters.
It would have been fun.
Like, oh my god, that'd be cool.
You know that crazy scene where Luffy walks past Kaido and Big Mom and Kinemon's there, and then it flashes the death scene of the scabbards, right? It would have been funny if they were also they're just in like the back.
Oh, dude, imagine if all the Yakuza were on the rooftop and they were aura farming. Like, imagine Kinemon's down, Luffy doesn't show up yet. And then we have like Tsunagoro standing on top of the mountain. He's like, so you've fallen, Kinemon. And then Kaido's like, huh?
Dude.
And then Ocho's like kneeling down beside Kinemon. And then Yatape's like, you know, sword on the hip, just sitting down. And then Big Mom's like, what? Like, where did they come from? And then, you know, who's the last guy we're missing out? I think like Osamu or something. Like, they're like, oh my god, like Osamu. Omasa, he's so quiet. I didn't sense it with my observation.
Like a cat bear.
Yeah, like a cat bear. Osama just scooted on in here.
Not Osama.
Dude, nobody cares if I get his name right or wrong.
You're like, bro, he's in the caves and shit. The fuck?
Osama bin Laden's here. This is where he's been hiding. Oh no!
Oh god, bro. That autocorrect is crazy. Osama? Yes. Like,
and you would be the type of guy that like pinpoints it
you
too.
Said Osa. I didn't pinpoint shit.
You would be the guy that hears Osama, huh?
It'd be crazy. We listened it back. You didn't say Osama, but you definitely did.
No, it would be so funny if like every time I say a name that starts with O, you're like Osama, huh?
Oh my god! In the caves? No, that's that. I think that's Saddam, anyways. But
close enough.
Close. YouTube, we apologize.
Oh man.
Oh god.
Who's next? We gotta wrap in like Mao Zedong somewhere.
I'm just thinking the way you were going.
Oh, we even had Genghis Khan too, man. We're doing like the world tour.
Yeah, we're doing it. This is a history class.
Yeah.
On the rooftop though, I would have liked it. Yeah, I'm with you, but like because like Oda put all of them in the same bucket of dealing with this Ice Oni BS, right? Like, and that was Oda's way to like fill up, like, here's a bucket of characters that I need to be doing something for like an infinite amount of time while other stuff wraps up, and then once that stuff wraps up, then I'll like end this one, because he sent out the antidote. It was just a meeting of time with like Chopper. How much random plot device like time am I gonna lot Chopper solving the antidote here? That's essentially it, right? So you just put all of them in the bucket there, and it would have been a little bit cooler to see like they're like on top of like some kind of pillar looking down at Kaido. Your crime is too dirty for our liking, and then they just like have like a combo move, and then it'd been like crazy. Ooh. Yeah, like they like, I don't know, pull out like it's all about money or something. They all have gold because they're, you know, the Yakuza.
Ooh, like Yakuza Union attack.
Yeah, or tattoos. They like link up with tattoos. Oh shit.
Yeah.
That'd have been nuts. Something like that, you know. Oh well, Hyogoro's tattoo
Kaido,
did
when
relate
he gets
his power. So
and when Kaido gets hit by the Yakuza a combined attack, he's like, "Oh my god, this power!" And then he sees like flashes of like Roger and Rox and Garp and just all these heavy hitters. Like this power, it's like the old era. He sees Prime Beard.
yeah, this is before Luffy goes in. So then when Luffy hits him, we add the Yakuza into the list.
Yeah. Luffy, how high will your ceiling go? And behind Luffy, it's the Yakuza bosses. Oh man, I love it.
He goes through the names. He's like, "Who was that guy? Osama?"
Osama, Ocho, Yappa, the Rappa,
he just butchers all.
and then Goro Mashima, like just a bunch of random names just throws out there.
Who was that?
So now, on to the first page of the chapter. I think we spent long enough on the cover page.
No Sukiyaki.
We're 15 minutes in.
Oh, we did mention Sukiyaki.
It's
Actually.
time. We did.
Yeah.
It's time to talk about King Harold. We see a young King Harold with Dorian Brogy. I said they kind of look like minions, right? They're just very oddly shaped. They're like jelly beans come to life. They're all dancing around,
threw me
man.
through a loop because we went 109 years ago. Flashback in the previous chapter, and so you know I'm adult Harold, and then we were coming from an even more adult Harold. So when I got this, I was like, "Who the f- is this? Like Harold have another?"
Yeah,
kid?
we went back like even further. It's like Whiplash a little bit.
Yeah, because
right?
it didn't give the time at the start. But then I saw Prince Harold. I was like, "Oh, so this is before that. This is him." And I was like, "Who the fuck? Who are these?" And then like,
yeah, we're getting like a flashback within a flashback within a flashback.
Yeah, we got this like Inception, but like Oda style. And yeah, the jelly bean. I respect it though. At least they look like silly, goofy. You know what I mean? Like
yeah. I mean they're kids.
Yeah. And knowing that they turn out the way they do current time, it's like whatever shape they come in, that's fine. You know, better than
they change
some
it up.
of the other ones.
So man, Brogy was kind of born fat. Oh yeah, so for Harold though, his hammer, it reminds me of the hammer that Loki had last chapter in the flashback.
True.
It's a little bit different, but it is like a more cartoonish looking black hammer. It's got like a little wrap around it, so
yeah, it looks like a pill.
It's kind of funny, My theory is that, Loki inherited King Harold's hammer, which I think could be the case, right? Hey, here's son, here's my fishing pole. I think it's like one of those scenarios. I think the silliest thing though is that, if we're saying that Loki inherited King Harold's hammer, what did Hardin inherit?
Dude, I'm saying, bro, that
the fist of the king. Oh, that'd be cool. Wait, that's a sick one.
Yeah, like I don't want to. I'll bring it up later, but someone brought up something really true in the stream about like the amount of it's not even like omittance. It's just like there's so many things that should have been applied to Hardin, but it wasn't. It was applied to Loki, and it's like, wait, what? Like, how come you didn't think about this for Hardin? And like the weaponry, we still have to figure out the Ragnar situation, right? So, which is interesting considering Loki was wielding that hammer on the day that Harold died, so that Ragnar dissemination to Loki may not have been like a Harold thing. That could have been like a Loki took over the thing because and no one could stop him in that regard, that was the other funny thing too, which is Loki was like, what are you gonna do, lift my hammer? Oh
my god.
Yeah, and then because they're like, what, are you gonna carry me and my hammer? You can't even pick the shit up. Like, that's how disrespectful he was about that, the Ragnar. So, it'll be interesting. I am curious to know. It doesn't seem like we're going to get that much detail here, per se, but Ragnar, for sure, I think we're going to have to figure out where that...
Yeah, like, where did he get that from, bro?
The hammer, maybe not as much, but the other one.
It would be cool if that was something that King Harold passed down, like, oh, Loki, I entrust Ragnar to you, and then that does open the door for Harden to maybe get some inheritance. Maybe, hey, here in Elbaf, I would love to see it if King Harald, we get like a little scene where it's like, Harden, when you feel like you're worthy enough, go into the throne room, and there, I laid out Gungnir for you. And then he picks up a spear, and then lightning and fire just emit from it. And then that's it. You get a shot of Emu. Emu looks up. He's like, wait, is that what I think it is? And then Kaido and Big Mom climb out of the volcano. They're like, oh, he has awakened. Harudin. Okay, sorry. I'm getting too far off into the Harudin theories. We're not even there yet. So, King Harald is going on a rampage, and he eventually ends up in Bunt Kingdom in the New World, and that's where he meets the crazy, monstrous giant Ida. She has her ancient giant horns right there. She's roaring and growling, and she's scaring off the puny humans. They don't want to be hurt by that abhorrent, vile, terrifying, ugly monster. King Harald gets sick of this. He says, oh, what is this sideshow? They got nerve turning a giant of Elbaf into a circus attraction. He destroys the town, and she's like, wait, those are my people. I was role playing. She slaps King Harald, and then they do go back and rebuild the town. And I thought that was kind of funny because, this implies that the entire time while King Harald was destroying that kingdom, Ida never once said, stop, I'm not a hostage. No, please don't hurt my guys. Like, she waited until she was on the ship to actually say any of this, which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, no, I don't remember if I specifically said that, but I was a little confused at the interaction because it's like, wait, like, so like what happened? Like the people, there was no conversation had, like they couldn't hear him, but then what about Ida? And then she said it. Yeah, it's interesting. This was definitely a shocking, not turn of events, but like very interesting way for Oda to give us Harald in interacting with the world. I like how the dialogue is set up too with the rest of what Ida does. It's all very, very intentional. But yeah, Ida's perspective, that was also interesting too. Like she was saying like, oh, they like saved me or whatever. I was afloat, and they need to like rebuild the city. But more or less like standing on business immediately. Like she doesn't know who Harald is, whatever it is, and like the way like Harald reacts to it too is pretty interesting because I was like, I'm like, damn, has he never been hit before, or is it like did Ida like put like was it like the Nami type of thing? Like is it?
It's definitely the Nami thing. I think people put Nami and Ida and Harald and Luffy side by side and like, yo, this is like the same guy.
Yeah. And like Harold's just like, damn, I thought she would like be swooning all over me. No, she hates me. Why does she hate me? And then
I thought she'd be doing spins on my car.
Yeah. And then
that's what somebody said in the comment section.
Their worldview is so like opposite. He can't even like register, because this is something that I said at the very beginning when I saw this. I was like, wait a second, she doesn't have handcuffs. Wait a second, these guys aren't doing this right. If they're gonna properly hold down a giant, they need to put chains on chains on chains.
I don't know. You saw Roto's playhouse, and that was apparently a giant prison cell, and there was
made
like
by giants.
Just brick and mortar.
Humans, humans building something to hold in a giant, bro. Like that's crazy.
Maybe you know what's funny? We don't know enough about giant lore. So what if like they rubbed garlic on the bars, and giants are like vampires, and they're like, I can't touch the bars.
Dude, it got to a point where, because I was just looking at this picture, so I'm seeing ancient giant, so I'm thinking she's huge. But then they said 10 meter. I was like, okay, so that's 30 feet ish. So it's like normal giant. So I didn't really like do that. But I was like, she's like, ancient giant can't break free. I was like, she's buns. Like, how did she not escape this? How is she just letting this happen? And then because the bottom half of her is cut off, I was like, oh, she done got legs. That's what it is. She's a fishman. And I was like, wait, no, hold on. Fishermen women would get legs after a while. because the feet would split at the age of
the tail
39, which
split.
would be age like 106 or something, 116. So and does she look 116? Yeah, she looks a little bit over 39. So I was like, wait, hold on, something's funky happening here. Why is she just letting this happen? And then we just go in. I'm like, okay, she's just captured. She's just, I guess, terrible at being a giant. I don't know. Harold fights, and then we find out that she's actually faking the horns too. Like it'd have to be right because it's a collaboration. She'd be like, "Oh, I got a great idea. Give me the horns." People are scared of the horns, and I was thinking about this. I was thinking about this because this is a circus show, and she even kind of alludes to. I'm not a big pocket watcher, but she tells us she was getting paid enough to feed herself off of being a circus act. I'm like, yo, she's getting paid insane money by human metrics. Like I don't know how much money she would be, like at least like 150 grand a month probably to feed. Like this is crazy amount of food, and she's making insane money. And so that means like surely she's not staying on this island. Even Brooke, when Brooke was Soul King, they took his act all over the islands. That's how he became a internationally renowned superstar, right? And then I was like, oh my God, what if one of my favorite rumors about giants that I always go back to stems from this? It stemmed from a circus act like, and behold, the giants whose saliva melts rocks. And that's where the rumors.
Oh my God, you're so cooking, Jesus! Ah!
That makes sense, right?
Wow, no, you're. I think I have to stop making fun of you. I feel like Bellamy in Dressrosa, like I can't make fun of you anymore, Mugiwara. Like, wow, no, you're cooking. Yeah, this could be where the giant rumor starts. Like, come meet the ugly giant woman whose saliva melts rocks, and it's Ida.
Yeah, and
it was all an act.
The worst part
an exaggeration
is that Ida was in on it. Like Ida was perpetuating it for the money, like a Twitch streamer, bro.
Oh my God, dude! Imagine they actually like, oh, I want to see the act happen, and then they get like a giant rock salt, so that it does dissolve after spit. So you're like, pah, and then you see the rock salt like slowly dissolve, and it's like, wait a minute, like it's all a circus act. Yeah, no, wow, I cannot believe after all these years, Grandpa was right. It's like one of those things where you have a friend and they're like, yeah, no, I swear to God, at night goblins come out and attack my car, and they say it like day after day, and you don't believe them, you're laughing at them, and then one day you look outside and the goblins are there. This is Par's goblin. I mean, hell, she looks like a goblin.
Oh my God.
Par, he's cooking, dude. No, wow, dude, I was making fun of you for this for like the longest time, but now it all makes sense.
This is like the perfect origin story for that rumor. It's so
what the hell?
Like it's like we're looking at Harold is the thing, and it's like, why would he just be spitting on rocks? But if Ida was hot toying, bro, for entertainment, easily, bro.
And imagine the role play, like Harold, I'm a melt, you're a rock.
Oh shit!
Oh, I got it.
Yeah. Oh.
Wow.
Yeah.
My mind is blown. This is the Parvision, man.
Dude, this is the comeback.
This is okay. The master theorist is back, baby. All right. Jesus, man.
Yeah, and
at first you scared me when you said you didn't know about the Yakuza Pluton theory, but now you're coming back with fire.
It'd be also like this is separating it from because I think I briefly said it on stream. Because it wouldn't be as funny me alone saying it, so I was saving the full for this moment. Because I would say it right, and then Chad would be like, "Oh, there he goes again." You know what I mean? But we've been having this conversation for so long about this specific thing, so I was like, "All right, I'll save the full conversation for then." But I was thinking, like,
dude,
because Ida's still alive, and and we don't, well, not, I don't know about to this day, but we don't necessarily know. And there's more to the flashback to where Ida could be, important. And what if she just like, what if it's not a rumor and she actually just like has like a she can't, she's like
just crazy spit.
yeah, she's like Hiradin's like behind a rock wall or something, and he's like, Mom, save me, Loki's trapped behind the wall. And then Ida's like, hold on, son. And she just like spits and Hiradin's like, huh? The fuck?
That'd be so good.
Yeah, like she gets imprisoned by Loki or something or someone, and she spits on the chains and then breaks it. That'd be kind of crazy.
It's kind of like Polly, you know, just random powers out of nowhere. Just she manifested her spit.
Yeah.
To be acidic.
I already know how I'd market this theory. The Hawktua has revealed herself.
It's back.
The biggest Hawktua. Oh God, that'd be great. Oh
God. So, King Harold, I really like his reaction to seeing Ida in the cage. You know, like, he gets instantly angered when he sees a giant there, being a sideshow. And, you know, that's a giant, right? But later on, as we go through the chapter, he becomes more and more, you know, I'd say, what's the right word? Empathetic towards humans, even. Mm-hmm. So now, I bet if he saw a human in a cage, he'd also be really upset by the end of this chapter. So it's very surprising to see that somehow, someway, it's a canon event, that King Harold does end up working with the world government. You know, he goes up to Marie Joie, he sees what's happening there, and it's like, dang, like, what? I wonder what his reaction's going to be. Like, it must, the world government must have something nasty over him if he is just letting that all slide by. Like, it's got to be a force that, one, he can't beat physically, or two, it's just, you know, he's working undercover and he's just dealing with it. But yeah, it's some crazy stuff, man. And it's funny watching him like slowly change, right? Like Ida's like, hey, like you were just born big. There's nothing special about you. You just got lucky.
Yeah.
And that was like a wake up call to him. He's like, oh, you know, she kind of cooked with that one.
Yeah.
And yeah, we see them rebuilding the village and it's all good. And yeah, we get like the whole Nika dance, the montage, and what are your thoughts on all this?
No, yeah, I think this was really powerful. I like the way this is also different from what I was not expecting per se, but like the way the story had things set up. It was like Saul showed up, and then Harold had school, and then we had some like, you know, timeline with the world, the Holy Knights visiting Harold at some point, like you know, around 30 years ago or some shit like that. And the question mark being like, why then? Why did Harold turn? Like, when did this happen? But it turns out, no, it didn't happen then. It started happening over 100 years ago. Harold had been changing his worldview, and you know, the it's not even a fiction way, but Oda left it to a woman to change that worldview on behest of Harold, you know, because no one taught him this. He's an adult. He's a king. We saw him as a prince. It's very markedly that without Ida, that Harold would have continued Elbaf's train towards military, like being the world government's greatest weapon, essentially. Like Ida, I don't know, however people are pronouncing it. She in a lot of ways, she almost like avoided a huge disaster without even knowing it. And the dialogue behind it in this chapter is really awesome. Like I was saying at the beginning, Harold's like, everyone is so puny outside of Elbaf and so weak. And then Ida's just like, yeah, well, you were born big, so you're strong. They're born small, so they have other gifted things. Isn't that logical? Doesn't that make sense? Like, they're not born strong, so they can do other things, more intricate things that you can't do. That's why it's a benefit for you to recognize their value as much as you, like, he can more easily rationalize how he can benefit the humans. And he demonstrates that by one of his like peace offerings to one of the places is just he kills a giant shark and feeds it to them, right? And you know, like, they teach them architecture, they teach them a bunch of other stuff. And so like very quickly he understands like, oh damn, like where I'm lacking, they fill in the gaps. And it's also very interesting because there's one other thing that Oda did, and we didn't really have a name to the place, but I'm going to go on a limb and assume that we found out where Saul's from, Samuanai Island, from the South Blue. We know that Saul is from the South Blue, and the reason I'm going on a limb is I'm going to go on a limb and say that's probably not multiple giant established islands that are separated in the South Blue. I think it's more commonsensical to think that Ida and Saul at least came from the same island. Maybe they don't know each other. I think that maybe they're could be related. It'd be kind of cool, though that has like other ramifications. But at minimum, they probably knew each other, which would also set up Saul and Harold's relationship later on. But
as well as the Harden relationship too.
Yeah, and yeah, exactly. And so the other part of this is that Ida's worldview is not something that she developed purely from a point of view of working with the humans that she was saved by, which is reasonable, right? Like that's kind of like a koala type of thing where koala was given to fishmen and she was like, you know, not necessarily scared of them. She was scared, period. But then there was the also added stereotype of fishman racism that she overcame by being like associating with them and living with them and traveling with them. But in this moment, we can actually probably say that her worldview is probably from Samuanai Island, because she also refers to Elbaf as the Elbaf savages, just like how Saul was introduced. When he was introduced, he said the same thing. And look what Saul did. Saul joined the Navy. We don't know how he ended up doing that, but that's the most working with human point of view. And then we can also wrap that around like that's the pathway. Whatever constitution that Samuanai had, it led even Harold to learn from that worldview and work with the world government in a similar vein that Saul did in a different context, but obviously, similar path points, whether correct or not. So there's like layers to it also. And I'm curious about what Oda's going to do with this Samuanai Island, because like, are we going to go to the South Blue? Are we going to meet more giants from there? Or Ida, or like, is Saul going to tell us about it? Is he going to like teach us about those giants and what they went through? It's very interesting, but at minimum, we can say that like they have a completely different worldview than the Elbaf giants. And I'm also curious why they're there. You know what I mean? Like how do they end up over there? Also, do they have an Adam tree? Because I do want to know if they have Adam trees elsewhere, right?
Oh, that'd be kind of cool. I mean, that would make sense, right? It's like the Wano samurai, they left Wano, but they're like still bladesmith. Like imagine they brought a little piece of Elbaf with them where it's like, oh yeah, we got like a Yggdrasil seed with me, and they planted
Which
it.
is...
That'd be sick.
You want to think that, but they hate Elbaf, right?
Yeah, well, but maybe they like the tree though, right? It's like, you go on vacation, like, I hate everybody here, but... they got some really good food I'm gonna bring back home.
Yeah,
like maybe something like that.
It might be like Samuanai has like the best schools, the best library. Like there's like all the concern we have about, oh no, this stuff is burning down here. It's like Samuanai completely dog walks all the quality that like Saul spent the last 20 years trying to mimic what they had on Samuanai. That'd be kind of crazy.
I don't know if I like that, to be honest.
You know how like in One Piece, like some islands are like 500 years in the past, and then we got Egghead.
Yeah,
it'd be funny if like Elbaf is like Viking back or whatever, but Samuanai is where the Legos came from. Like, you know what I mean? Like, where did that shit come from?
Like
it's still Nordic.
I don't think it'd be bad, but it would be like a personal preference if Samuanai was actually like 200 years in the past. Like they were just so unadvanced because they weren't warriors. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah.
And then like there's gonna be a giant in Samuanai who's like, guys, like we need to bring violence back. Like I think that's why I like that mindset better.
Yeah, it would be it would be depressing if the giants on Samuanai were getting like bootied by like higumas. You know what I mean? Like
yeah, like they're like, oh, we're different from those Elbaf giants. We don't believe in violence. And then, like, yeah, you're right. Like Higuma shows up and like all the giants get cooked.
Yeah.
Like I think there's a like it's weird because, like, you know, Elbaf right now, all the kids are pacifists, right? They don't believe in violence. And then you have like Samu and I who thinks all the Elbaf giants are savages. I think there's a happy medium where you are educated and you're also a little bit violent. Like, we don't have to choose one or the other, guys. Like, the answer's in the middle. Come on.
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
Yeah, I'm like looking.
I think that's why I hope Samu and I has like some downside.
So like, yeah, because I was also, because like, we gotta also remember, they're not the grand line. So, but East Blue is the weakest blue. But like in reality, who are they really?
But that's
facing?
the blue where Roger and Luffy are from, and Dragon and Garp. So I mean, why are they known as the weakest? Like, does that even make sense anymore? I don't think so.
And we gotta remember, there's some key characters from the South Blue. Akuma's from there, but also Kid, Killer, they're from there. I think Ace's mom is from there. Ace technically is from there too, right? By proxy. Frankie technically is
by proxy.
So that's it, you know, who knows? Maybe it wouldn't be that crazy. Is this not the pathway for Kid to show up in the story then? Because then he'd be like, oh, like maybe he knows Samoa Nai giants, and then.
Oh, dude, that'd be so crazy. Kid shows up and Harden's like, oh, Kid, you know, everybody in the South Blue knows you.
Yeah, my mom.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, told me stories. Not told me stories, but like, because like kids obviously knew her, but like, you know, you stopped by my mom's hometown or some shit like that. Like that, like unironically, as much as I meme on Kid, that is a decent.
Yeah, like Saul, Harden, everybody from Samoa Nai, they get on their knees. They're like, Kid, you have returned. It's like the Rise of a safe thing, but for Kid.
Yeah, he has red hair. Saul has red hair. Yeah, hold on.
Wait, you're cooking, Par. You're cooking.
Yeah, we locking in on this.
I love how one of the top comments on the previous Parcast was, please don't bring Kid up. Please don't bring Kid up. And you did it here. I've always been the one who brought it up, but now you're doing it too. I'm telling you, Kid's gonna come back in a hard way. People are gonna hate it, but it's gonna happen. He's not dead. We know he's not dead.
I was like looking at possible things that could connect, and I was like, oh wait, we don't know. Do we know if Kid's love interest? Maybe she was a giant. We don't know. Do we? She got named after a ship. Maybe she's a big girl.
She's a small
and
girl.
And so I saw her name, and I was
we
like,
have a drawing of her.
I just remember Victoria. But the full name is Victoria Shirutan Dorionaki Naika, which translates to Victoria Broth Splatterina.
Yeah, it's like a food or something. I
Wait,
think.
that's kind of crazy. I was like, this has to be fan fiction, right? Like, no, but this is real. That's interesting. Yeah. So
yeah, shout outs, Kid, man.
Could be a pathway. I mean, also the other thing is, it makes you wonder of we might even get Samuel 9 straight from Harold, right? Like, because he's like he had a baby with Ida in the timeline, so like it wouldn't be that crazy if, hey, when he's doing all these foreign overseas envoys, that like he stopped by his wife's hometown, see the other giants, figure out their culture. That'd be, wait a second, wouldn't you know Saul then? Wait a goddamn moment.
Yeah, maybe he does know Saul.
Yeah, and then Saul washes up on the shore and be like, "Hey, brother, what you doing here?" And it's like, "Shit, I'm on Elda."
Yeah, I mean the possibilities are endless, man. I mean he could even see Saul up at Marie Joie, right? Because we do know that Saul knows Saint Somers. You know, he's seen him before. Maybe Harold and Saul met Saint Somers together. Maybe because King Harald wants to go up to the Holy Land, he sees Saul and they're like, "Hey, like let's do this. Let's go up together. Two giants, man."
You know, I just realized.
It's like, boom. I mean, we don't know like the full Saul timeline, but I'd like to imagine he was a Marine back then. Or still a Marine, you know, at that point.
Harold doesn't fit in Marijois. Like physically. I don't think they...
Is that just racist?
I don't think they made the doors big enough. Because we've seen already, like, Kumas and other characters, like, already, like, start hitting some, like there's some places where it's like, damn, how did Loki, how did Harold even like make it? Did they just leave him outside? Like,
I like to imagine there's like a separate area for giants specifically. Like, oh, if you want to meet the Gorson, if you're a giant, you have to go over here.
I'm sure.
I mean, hell, we still haven't seen the Eve tree. So it's like, there's a lot of things about Mauritia we still don't know about. I feel like once we get that final war, Oda's going to flesh it out even more. Like, oh, yeah, there's this district over there. There's that district over here. And then it's just going to get like really wacky.
Oh, and speaking of other things, Le Mer Joie, lines in front of me. This is the first time I think it's like verbatim confirmed the Serpent of Blood is the red line.
Yes.
That's kind of crazy.
That's an old theory. It's funny because that theory is so old, and it was like one of the first ones ever that people just accepted that already as a fact.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people already thought that was like canon information. Like, oh yeah, the blood-soaked serpent, yeah, that's the red line. But it's like, we've never had that like said verbatim. Like, this is the first time.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because like this theory popped up like what, like chapter 100? Like, people were talking about this for the longest time, and here we have it.
Like
the red line is the blood-soaked serpent.
35-ish, I think.
God, yeah, this is like an OG theory, man.
Yeah, which this also confirms that. At least, actually, it's not like confirmed, but in the same vein, it's a little bit in the same vein as what's her name, Sharia. The Celestial Dragon not knowing what the Void Sentry name is, like, or that Void Sentry period. It doesn't, like, he's like, you mean the red line? Like, so he's like, huh, that's what you guys call it? Like, because that would mean the Elbaf doesn't know the red line name, that's interesting. Because then it's like, huh, I wonder, then the world government named the red line, and it's interesting because then why did they call it the Serpent? But obviously, that's where the theories. Jormungandr, and now we have the Harley, not the Harley text. Well, yeah, the Harley text and the mural. Everyone's like, that's the red line,
Whoever first cooked up the red line is the Serpent of Blood theory, like back in 2005. Do you think they're dead at this point? Do you think they're still alive, just reading One Piece?
First of all,
like, where are they today?
That's 1999. This
was 1999.
This would be about 19. Yeah, because this is.
Oh yeah, chapter 100. Yeah. 19. Yeah, do you think they're still reading One Piece? Do you think they like saw this chapter like, what? Like, they're just bouncing off their chair? Because there is one guy who just came up with this theory. Nobody knows him, man. He's you know faded into history.
Yeah, he's probably on MySpace.
It was like back when there was like no YouTube, no nothing. It was just like forums.
Oh yeah, MySpace wasn't even a thing. It was probably on It
was just nothing but forums.
Yeah. No, I mean, if it is then it's like we're looking at like email threads. Like, we're looking at Yahoo, bro. Like,
dude, that's crazy. Yeah,
it might have even have been pagers. It was paged around.
It's funny, like, thinking about this now, because like I feel like the Serpent of Blood being the red line, this is the basis for so many theories nowadays.
Yeah.
That we all just like kind of accept.
Yeah.
And like that's why, like, I look at this and I kind of smile a little bit. It's like, dude, we've come a long way.
Yeah,
we're finally here.
Plot twist, it was just Oda. Oda was just like on that
Oda dropped it, like,
radio talk show.
The red line.
It was just him.
Yeah. I could see that.
He's like
so we go on a little bit. We hit 105 years ago. King Harald returns to Elbaf, and he says that he wants to, break bread with his neighbors. He wants to learn about culture and everything about the world. And it's nice, it's like he's trying to start the Silk Road here. That's what I compare it to. Like, he's just so enticed by this.
Yeah.
He wants to start trading, learning about people. And we see Jarl and Yorl, they're hanging out as well. And then Ida drops an interesting line. She says, Harald, no Elbaf, is blessed with good luck. Which I thought was kind of ironic, because that's the exact opposite mindset of Estrid later on, where, she sees Loki and she's like, yeah, this is a curse. It's bad luck, essentially. Bad juju. So, yeah, we got like two sides of the coin here, Ida and Estrid. We go on a little bit more. We see King Harald visiting some countries, yada, yada. And now we're 81 years into the past, and Hardin's been born. He wants to get married to Ida because of this, but the elders, the 4 elders of Elbaf, turn him down. Do you think these elders will be important? Do you think we'll see them? Are they still alive today even? Because they already look old in that panel. They look geriatric. And that was 81 years ago, man. So current day, they might be dead. I don't know. We did get the whole thing with Jarl being the oldest giant in Elbaf. So there is a chance that they're gone, but I don't know. They could be like a special exception. What do you think about these guys?
I hate them. I've been
You hate them?
Waiting for when these guys will be relevant. We don't even know if they're ancient giants. Apparently, the text isn't specific enough to even know. Like when they say pure blood, what do they mean? Like, do they mean ancient giants or do they mean, Elbath? Right? Because obviously Ida doesn't apply either, right? But which one are they against? Because Estrid doesn't have the horns, but like we found out from Rodo, is that there's no pure blood ancient giants in existence. So like there's going to be, some expression of ancient giant, whether the horn or the size or whatever. So it's interesting who this group is and what they determined, because there's so many things that were determined about Elbath that we got introduced to with Elbath, like as far as the arc goes, that where these characters could have been very valuable, and instead like Yarul was like put into that position to the point where when like the Holy Knights come in, who should lead this nation? And then they're like, Yarul, the legendary warrior. And then even he was like, what the hell? He was like, wait, why me? And then, like when that happened, I was like, yo, where are these guys? Like when Elbath is being burned down and held hostage, shouldn't these guys show up at some point and at least say something? And like maybe they got killed. I don't know.
They're pulling a Gorsey, dude. They just show up in the 11th hour. These super strong elder giants are just up in the heaven realm looking down.
Dude, worse than that.
We always make this comparison. They could be like Squad Zero out of Bleach. Like, yes, Yarul, this was your realm. Like, you're supposed to take care of this. We take care of the heaven realm. But we have to come down here and deal with you maggots. Like, it could be like that.
Yeah, it's also like, maybe they're the ones on the heaven realm batting like lightning strikes away. Like, they're actually insanely strong because they're weathered by the storms that they defend Elbath against, some shit like that to protect the tree.
Funny enough, we did have that really odd panel we talked about 2 weeks ago where when Emu showed up and released their Conquer's Hockey Blast, we had that panel of like a silhouette. And they opened their eyes and they said, like, so I can finally have some fun again, huh? Like, we were wondering who that was. I think it's now just one of these Elbath elders.
Wait, what? Hold on. Which chapter?
I'm kidding.
Yeah,
I'm kidding. Stop. I made that up. I talked about that. I was like, wait a minute. Did I make this too convincing?
Yeah, I was like,
wait.
Oh, no. Did I forget?
Yeah, imagine we had that, though. Like, Emu shows up and then one of the elders is like, I can finally wake up from my nap, huh? I can finally unleash 10% of my power on somebody.
You don't understand the level of dissonance I just had. I was like, am I like the whole power dynamic of like where these guys should be doesn't exist. So then when you said that, I was like, have I been ignoring like a very obvious
Yeah, you just been ignoring like a major player in Elbath.
Yeah, I'm like
imagine if I said that about Kid, like, Par, don't forget, last chapter, Kid was fighting Emu last we saw.
See, that would never go by me, bro. Every time Kid shows up in the chapter, he is the talk of the chapter. That is the one thing I'll give Kid credit for. Every time he's in a chapter, he gets at least 40% of the volume of conversation. Like, it's insane.
One of the most viewed podcasts we've ever had is about Kid, and I titled it The Kid Hype Fest. One of the most viewed podcasts right there, and it's just us talking about Kid. I don't even think we were hyping up. I think we were just like memeing on him for the most part. But still, like that, people love Kid talk. Like, as much as people hate Kid, they love to hate Kid. Or they love Kid. I fall on the love Kid side. I think he's a great character. He's just been dealt a very bad hand. Eventually, it's going to turn around, but people love hearing about him.
I haven't even looked at the analytics, but like that, as I feel like as a creator, you get to a certain point and like you see the chat, you see the conversation, and you just like Kid is crazy. I remember like the reveries, even it was the chat would blow up every
Yeah.
time Kid was mentioned.
I mean, JD Legend, like some of his most popular videos are him slandering Kid.
Yeah.
Like people do love the Kid talk. I don't know if it's because they love dogpiling on him, or if, you know, maybe it's like one of those things where it's like, you know, the Kid defenders come out and the Kid haters come out, and then the people who just like joking in the middle come out. Like I think Kid, in a way, you know, this is a great way to talk about him, but he kind of is like Joy Boy.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's, they cannot get enough of this guy, you know? He's kind of like, you know, mentioning Nika, if you're like clap at the Holy Land, like you talk about him and then you have people who shoot you, people who dance about him. Like Kid evokes that kind of reaction from the community.
His community epithet, unironically, is, I said it earlier in this call about the Yakuza, but it would be the version where I was wrong using it when I said useless, right? Useless Kid, like Eustace Kid, right? But the thing is, he's useless, but Oda's tactic is use him less. The less you use him, the more powerful he is. That's like Oda's tried and true thing, where he's not useless, but you just got to use him less. That's what Oda's done, and Kid is he would be like a Twitch clip farming. Like you never watch his stream, but you'd see hella clips on him.
He's like low tier god. If you know who that is. You know who that is?
I don't see his streams or whatever, but I know who his name is. So
yeah. It's like low tier god. If you guys don't know who he is, he's something. He's something. I can't watch any of his streams, but I see his clips everywhere.
I haven't seen clips. I've just seen, but then I quickly.
You don't see the clips because he actually like sues them down, I believe. He like copyright strikes everybody who posts the clips.
Oh my god,
who posts,
that's crazy.
Yeah, who puts clips of him online? Yeah, it's like a giant meme.
I feel like would Kid do that? I feel like Killer would do that for Kid, but who knows?
Maybe Heater Wire would. I don't know.
Yeah. You talking about my captain? And then they're like, yes, what are you going to do about it? You're on some scrub ass pirate crew, bro. Like, where's your ship, bro? Where's your poneglyphs, bro?
So with these elders too, do you think we'll actually see them current day? Because you talked about like the whole like, oh, where are they right now? What are they doing? Blah, blah, blah. But like, do you think we'll see them though?
It doesn't make sense. But this was 81 years ago. So this is like, it sounds weird, but this is more relevant to our timeline. So like there are several levels of decision making that I wonder where they're involved in, right? Because here they are dictating who he can marry, right? But later on, are they involved in Harold aligning with the world government? And like to the point where in that flashback that introduced us to this all, Loki's calling his dad a world government dog. Did Harold kill them? Like, or are they like, yeah, we like the world government too. We want, like, woof woof. Like, are they there? Like, what's happening? What is their advice, and how come Harold can ignore them there but not on Ida? Right? Like,
huh? I just thought about something. I think King Harold does kill these guys.
Okay. I possible.
What if King Harold kills them for Emu? Like, what if Emu's like, hey, if you want Elbaf to do blah blah blah, you have to kill the elders? Because Emu wants like a, you know, he wants like a shadow figure within Elbaf, and that's gonna be King Harold, and then later he wanted Loki. But it's like, yeah, like the only way you could do that is if you kill the people who give you orders. So maybe one of Emu's first orders is, hey, King Harold, if you want to prove your loyalty, you know, rip out your horns and then kill your elders. Like, you know, I mean, I talked to Brog about this a little bit, but, you know, in a lot of animes, I'm sure you know this too, but like in your Chinese comics, but typically you have like a strong character go around killing the upper echelon. Like, you know, spoiler alert for like, you know, certain series, but I guess the most appropriate one I can name right away is like, what is it? Bleach again, you know? Aizen went around, he killed all of Central 46. And then we have another popular anime where a character did that as well. I feel like in a lot of cases we have characters going around killing these upper tier elders, and it's kind of just appropriate. It's like almost a staple. So if Harold does that, I think it would also speak volumes, right? He doesn't kill them for telling him no to marry Ida, but he's killing them for Emu. And because Emu would not like these guys either, right? If these guys truly ruled Elbaf, if they have authority higher than the king, or they can have sway with the king, I don't think Emu would like that. He wouldn't allow it.
I think it fits.
So I wouldn't be shocked if Emu kills him, or if Harold kills him for Emu.
I think it fits on Emu's side, especially because Emu entered in the thing and said, like, if you want to be king, then you have to take out anyone who's, like, you're not truly a king if, like, you know, there's someone with authority, essentially, like, and that's, like, it's a power move. That's why randomly they have to kill Yarul, because it doesn't make sense, right? Like I think most people can see that it's literally an optics thing at that point, right? Like,
yeah,
because Yarul has no authority. He was surprised at the authority. At this point in the story, we don't think he's strong. So, like, both on strength and authority, there's no valid reason that Yarul is leader of anything. And yet still, Emu comes in and declares that this is how they become true, like, conqueror or conqueror-like. And, you know, it's a opposed ideology from someone like Luffy, but also the reason why while that part makes sense, it doesn't make sense from Harold's standpoint, because Harold won over Elbaf. So, like, I don't think he could openly or even, like, secretly kill. Like, how would he assassinate these guys? If he openly did it, I don't see Elbaf, like, being like, woo, this is our peaceful, super strong, we love this guy. Unless everyone hated the elders, which that also wouldn't really make sense. What
if King Harold killed them and he said, yeah, they went up to the Heaven Realm, and then because we never go to the Heaven Realm, nobody knows? Like, oh yeah, they went on a vacation. Yeah, like, or maybe, like, we kill them and then Emu puts in like a fake version of them in here.
Yeah, I think, like, on Emu's side, this pathway does make sense. It's just on the Elbaf side, there's, like, a few parlor tricks that would need to be applied for Harold to optically be represented the way he was when we got current Elbaf citizens, like, talking about him, remembering him. You know, and then there's also the other thing too, because it's like, you know, like, his strength and the horn situation, there is a lot of interesting inflection points, I guess, that we still have to get through. Like you said, like Merdjois being one of them. How did he, like, we even see in this chapter, he's, like, distraught by the fact that, like, he keeps getting denied by the world government. He's so confused why, right? So, like, a man like that, what is he willing to give up, right? And does he lose his mind a little bit? Does he kill these elders? Do the elders do something that deserves to be killed over? You know what I mean? Like, because there's also that front. There's also that where the elders do some kind of treasonous thing against Harold. Like, if Harold's king and he wants to work with the world government. Oh, like, here's one. What if he finds out that these guys are the reasons why his world government things keep getting blocked? Like, these dudes keep running, like, interference. And then he finds out, like, years and years of his work have been sabotaged by these guys. Then that might not be the only reason he kills them, but it could definitely, like, justify a lot of anger towards them. Like, you actively have been ruining our nation to the gulag. You know, he could do some shit.
Yeah,
like
what if they're pulling, like, a sukiyaki where, like, all the Elbaf giants are getting sick and we're wondering why, and it's because the elders are pissing in the river. Could be. I mean, that's an extreme example. That's all I could come up with on the spot. But yeah, it could be something like that where, yeah, the elders are not good for Elbaf. Maybe the elders originally had the deal with Emu, and, you know, they're the ones, like, raising warriors, like, you know, and then Harold's like, wait, what? I want to do peace. And they're like, no warriors. Emu wants that.
Yeah. And
then Harold kills him, and then that's when we get the Harold-Emu conversation.
And another thing that, again, I love that Oda's giving Yarul this perspective, but Yarul's really cool in the sense that he's like, hey, listen, like it should be run by the young people. It should be run by the people that are affected by this, not by my old ass. Him and Yorul are both looking at it like that. And in this chapter, we don't know the age of this like 4 silhouetted Gorosei looking people, but it's more likely that it'd be crazy if they were kids. It'd be more likely that they're closer to Yaru and Yorul. And so
I think even older.
Yeah, and on that platitude, Yaru would be opposed to them. They'd be like, why are you micromanaging the next generation? This is kind of whack. And so like it could
this is kind of whack.
Yeah, and then so they could there's that prison that Roto had, and we only saw one room.
Yeah.
They could be in prison. They could be in prison.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
For sabotaging Elbaf's like directives one way or another. Maybe they were the first school. I was gonna say school shooters, but I was gonna say this arsonists.
Oh God.
Yeah, they. Yeah, not laughing about the school, just these.
Don't worry, guys. Par's not laughing about school shootings.
yeah.
He's laughing about the idea of it.
Clips out. This is like one of those moments that gets clipped out 30 years later. See this guy? He laughs about school shoot. No, guys, I'm laughing about old people doing it in a fictional story.
Yeah.
Oh God.
In One Piece, it'll be a good haha moment. Trust me.
Yeah.
So we go on, and Hardin is born. And I think it is important to talk about that theory we had. It started as a meme, kind of like your whole, ooh, giant spit on rocks. But, Haru Din having the D in his name, I think is kind of fun. People were spitting funny jokes about Ida, saying, oh, her real name is IDA.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. I thought that was kind of fun. Do you think there is a chance? But if Ida and Saul do come from the same village, if they're like cousins or brother, sister, yada, yada, do you think there's a chance that Hardin does have the D initial?
Jaguar D Saul, his sister would naturally be something D Ida. Data. Famously known as the Data. The Dida. She being a D clan. Oh, well, there is the example technically. Law has the D, but his sister doesn't, or something like that.
We don't know for sure yet, because Law reveals that like at the end of Dressrosa after the flashback.
Yeah.
Lamia could have the D as well, which, by the way, Lamia, I think she's going to come back eventually.
Yeah,
Maybe?
there's been a lot of theories off of that.
Law's sister's a weird one. Parents are dead, but sister could be alive.
Prime subject for like a Bonnie type of situation, or a Gunko. Well, now less so Gunko, because now we know that Gunko is a saint and has the Manmire name. So maybe Lamia, somewhere else. But then we have to add the water, because apparently the water is the important part. But like, that's also an interesting one too, as far as who has that. Does that apply to Lamia? Is it only the boys or something like that? I don't know. But with the D clan here, that would make Hiredin D clan. That would be crazy. I think Hiredin being the D or being a D clan one actually follows through with like the progression that we've been getting with the story, which is that we don't know how the D originated. Obviously we don't know that, but we've been getting like inklings, like, is it honorary, right? Like Ace and Luffy were like, yeah, Sabo, you might as well just be one. And then we found out the Nefertaris were D clans. And that one is like an interesting one. Is like, Lily, did she get the D and then put the D in her name? And by get the D, did she get the D from Joy Boy? Or like, is it like a group thing? Like you just associate with the Joy Boy thing and then you're a D clan? Or is it something she was actually born with? Like, was she born a D clan? Which I feel like is the less thought about or acceptable one, but it's not out of the realm. So with all that being the case, right? We just came off of Vegapunk's speech. Amongst you there is a, and so like, Hiredin is an interesting one, being a giant, being the D, because Saul being for the longest time, the one exception to the D clan, the only giant, him being the only giant meant that there were other giants that had the D. We just hadn't met them. And that played an interesting picture for the family, the origin, how they get there, what happened. Saul being from another place, maybe that makes it less or more likely that like someone like a Port Gaz or something, showed up and that's the family lineage. I don't know. But point is that Hired having the D now, when we're grappling with like, does Dami Reversi affect the D? And will Hired choose to take the Dami Reversi to get the buffs of whatever, but then be immune to it? Maybe this is the way he's immune to it. Maybe he can get the buffs and be immune. Maybe he's just straight up immune. Maybe he's the light and savior when Loki gets transformed and Loki's all about like, aha, Hired, you had dirty blood in your system. And then he looks over and is like, hey, why aren't you Dami Reversi? Turns out that he got the dirtiest blood, the D-clan blood that can't be turned, and we find out that it's like the
D
holy
stands
blood.
for dirty.
Yeah, like that's what Loki wasn't wrong. He was just telling. He wasn't like we honestly, Oda caught Loki in a bad time when like we just saw a screenshot. We didn't see the whole video. It could have been that Hired was playing like faking it and crying, being that annoying younger sibling that's just trying to get the parents' attention. Wow, they beat me up. But like the reality is Loki was just like, he wasn't saying like your mom has dirty blood. He was literally like, Hired, your mom's middle name is Dirty, D for dirty. He was just trying to teach him that thing. It was just honestly just wrong time for the cameraman to put that manga panel there. It could have just been Hired was completely framing Loki through and through, and it could have been right there, right in our face. That's what the D stands for, dirty blooded. Imu's been saying this the whole story, no? So
he has,
yeah. So I think that Hired being a D, is almost kind of exciting because I've been wondering where is the light that Oda will give Hired, because this entire arc has been like set up like, oh my god, like Hired is a Grand Fleet member. Luffy's gonna go there, and he already got an in, and he already has Dory and Brogy, but Hired's a little different. We had him on Dressrosa. He's this and that, and then we find out he has a little brother who's 3 times bigger than him, 3 times stronger than him, holds Ragnar, the family, like the Odin treasure. Like his brother can 1v all of Elbaf, and Hired can barely fight a moose. Like, what is Oda gonna give Hired?
He did need Stanson to kill that moose.
Yeah, like there's not a single breather room that Oda has been giving Hired. And when I was saying all that, this is the maximal light that Oda could have possibly given Hired. The D-clan tax. That's Zoro doesn't have that. Sanji doesn't have that. You know what I mean? Like, this is something that main characters only Luffy has right now, as far as like our main characters, right? And we see how far it goes for characters like Garp, and Dragon, D-Clan, Blackbeard, right? Like, so Hired getting it, exciting, good for his character. I think it'll just be better all around. Now, does it have to be the case? No. Obviously, it's built off of like 3 different like coincidental theories. Like, it'd have to be that Saul and Ida are related. They are from the same island, which isn't that much of a stretch, right? But it is interesting because it goes back to maybe like we haven't seen a D on Elbaf that is giant, so maybe all of Samoan Eye's D's, and it's not just Saul's family. It could be other D-clans there too.
It could be that the reason why Samurai exists is because the D-clan members didn't believe in violence, so they left a long time ago. And everybody there is just a D-clan member.
Yeah, so it could be something along those lines. And so, actually, the more and more I think about it, the more and more I talk about it, I feel like the likelihood that he is kind of like skyrocketing. I don't know what percent, but
I'm glad you finally see the light, man. We've been memeing about this for a while, but I was never joking. I always knew that Harden had the D in him, dude. Day one. Go back to Dressrosa. I said, yo, Harodin!
Yeah, that's why he got introduced alongside Abdullah and Jeet. You know, the Harodin. That's why the Osama mention at the start of this thing is all set up, guys.
It all comes back together.
You know, Harodin just needs to make his pilgrimage to Mecca soon. You know, like that's all that needs to happen. You know, Harodin is an interesting guy too, because he also wanted the fire Logia. He's like, have you ever seen a giant with a Logia? Like a crazy madman, man. He's just not, you know. As long as Harodin doesn't get introduced too close to September, Oda's still an ally, I guess. But you know, we need some fixes after Abdullah and Jeet. It's the craziest backstory. Jokes aside, yeah, Sai definitely always thought he had the D, whereas I thought that Oda was always giving Harodin the D, bro. Harodin kept on getting it, like taking back shots at the back shots.
It pays to be a Harden believer. I still make fun of Harden, don't get me wrong, but I believed in this guy. Just wait.
I see that's where people, you know, because you were saying like, oh, I'm a hater, and people are like, Par hates, and I'm like, no, I'm critical, just like I am a dragon. I want Harodin to be
dragon
cool.
Even more so for me. My God, dude.
What happened?
You know, just think about dragon. That's all it is.
Oh yeah. Like you'll never not see me make fun of Dragon. Like you have to, especially if you like him. Like you have to. It's the SpongeBob thing. You have to look at yourself in the mirror and be able to laugh, right? That's the thing. Like these characters, they're important. They're close. I know that they are going to be meaningful, and that is why I meme on them super hard. Because if you look at the objectiveness, it is kind of funny what Oda did to Harodin, Dragon. It's just too silly sometimes. But yeah, with Harodin, there's a lot that, like, if he were a D-Clan, he dodged the prophecy, which actually, we're not there yet, technically, but you know, you would think that, like, damn, they would give him that foreboding prophecy. All the D-Clan are gonna ruin the world and burn it down, and then they have that prophecy for the child of Harold, and then they didn't give it to him. They gave it to Loki, which is like, damn, what the fuck? That's the Harodin literally gets nothing. He can't even get the curses. He inherits.
Yeah, I mean, that is true.
Ragnar, not his way. You know what I mean? So it's interesting. We'll see what the D-Clan gives him. Maybe his true heritage is waiting at Laugh Tale.
Just wait till Harden whips out, like, dude, what if Harden's like the first person that awakens like D-Clan powers even? That'd be kind of nuts.
He's the one who finds the One Piece. Harodin. Yeah.
He's there with Luffy at Laugh Tale.
Yeah. I mean, hey, if he is D-Clan, I'm not saying that all have to be there, but he would be like...
He'd be fitting.
Yeah, I still remember when you said that, oh, what if the mural wasn't Loki, even though it looks like 99% Loki? What if it's actually Harodin's true form? What if he gets like a transformation later and that's what he looks like?
I forgot I said that.
Yeah.
Oh, God, like, I forgot I said that. Oh, no.
That's his D-Clan transformation. That's like, you know, the random Bankai like type of shit. You know what I mean? That's his Bankai.
I mean, what if... So, Emu called the D-Clan empty husk, right? Whatever they were talking, like Cobra.
Yeah.
They're empty shells. What if Oda wraps back in a very important power that a lot of people really enjoyed back in Dressrosa? The same arc in which Harden was introduced, the Jacket no Mi. What if the D-Clan literally are empty husks and they need somebody to fill them and they absorb people? So in this arc, we could get Harden absorbing Loki. So he becomes a full and filled husk.
You know what's really funny? While you're
imagine Harden just like doing this and then his body like unzips from the middle and then Loki gets inside.
That would be crazy. Either way of that would be wild. That's the true.
That's a very
treasure.
popular theory. That's
the treasure, the royal treasure. That's the real reason why he wanted everyone to look at the Maramara no Mi, but his real objective was over there with Bobby Funk. Like,
Yeah. Put a foreshadow god again.
oh, it was with the Funk brothers. Who perfect?
Yeah.
And one of them was small, one other one was big. Is that not Hired in Loki coded?
I think
They're
it
funky
is.
brothers.
I
Ooh.
think it is. Oda, man. Add monster.
Yo. And it's funny because the while you're saying that, my alternative thing, and this would only be, I love thinking about like what if this character was the main character of One Piece? What would their story be like? And I feel like the Kinemon one that I cooked up earlier was pretty solid. This one, it would be that Hiruden. It's like I started getting Shutter Island or like Moon Knight a little bit vibes, where it's like he's hallucinating. He is Loki, so he's chained up. And he's just like, so like when Luffy goes, join my crew, it's like that is to Hiruden, but Hiruden doesn't see himself there. He's like having an out of body experience. He's actually Loki, but he's just like he's having insane schizophrenia, and so like he's like trying to fight this Loki person that the version of a son that his dad wanted him to be, but he never was, but he actually is. So it'd be like that. Like Hiruden actually is just Loki. That'd be kind of crazy. We find out, we go back, and we just realize that there was never a Loki. It was just Hiruden the whole time.
Yeah, that would be cool. I mean, hey, what if like the reason why Oda put Hiruden in the underworld at the beginning of Elbaf isn't because he was getting Moose. It was because he was talking to Luffy the entire time.
Yeah.
Like imagine we go back retroactively in a volume change and we actually just put Hiruden there in every scene. That'd be crazy.
Yeah, like we're lucky that Gerd overheard the conversation, because dude, the schizophrenia off of the Mosa calls would go so insane. Because then it would be like, oh, Mosa's actually just the moose that Hiruden killed at the beginning. Like it's literally like that was the Shaggy
Yeah, he's just
monster.
talking to him.
Yeah, just some animal that he's like Loki. Unironically, we already had the schizophrenia thing when he's like, have you been hearing the trees? Right? Stephen Paul's translation was actually correct. And that was Hiruden and Loki having an internal conversation with each other. That would be what it'd sound like. Are you listening to the trees, brother? And then Hiruden's like, bro, am I losing it? Like, you know what I mean?
What's happening?
Yo, dude, that would be, I feel like, as wacky as it sounds, if Oda actually pulled that out, Elbaf would be an insane arc. If we just find out
would
Loki's
people like this though? Like outside from us just laughing at this theory, would anybody actually like it if Loki never existed and it's all Hiruden? But Hiruden gets like the Loki eyes and horns. Like imagine like we get a chapter where Loki and Hiruden get beaten, and then like everything fades to black. And then it says, it's time to wake up from the dream. And then we see that Loki disappears and Hiruden opens his eyes and he has like the serpent eyes. He has the Loki horns. He has Ragnar in his hands. Like, would anybody actually enjoy that? Dude. I mean, it sounds kind of cool. Don't get me wrong. But like, would people like it though?
I think if it was Oda, everyone loves what Oda does. No, I'm joking. But like, you know, if Oda did his spin on it, I feel like he could execute on it. But in reality, it's not that Oda coded of a plot line. Obviously, like with what we've gotten. Now, could he go that route? Sure. But it doesn't seem like the way he's ignoring Hiruden in the flashback period, it doesn't seem like he's drawing an emphasis on that potential, right? If he gave more emphasis to Hiruden throughout this flashback, then you can maybe say like a back and forth of Hiruden's perspective and Loki's perspective. But my God, we went to okay, see, this would be the schizophrenic plotline angle. The reason why Hiruden wasn't invited to the castle when Harold was killed is because there is no Hiruden anymore. You know what I mean? It's just that is Hiruden as Loki, and that's like the perspective, right? And so that would validate that, but that's also another angle based in reality. It's like that's a little focus Oda's giving Hiruden, is that Hiruden wasn't even invited to that castle meeting, which also just is kind of weird. You know what I mean? Like, why is Hiruden treated so differently than Loki that he wasn't invited to that thing? And you know, that also is leaning on who invited Yarul and Loki in the first place. Because if the assassination of Harold was planned, then it might be that Harold didn't invite them, and the whole point was to create a scapegoat. But you know, obviously the other fun part of the schizophrenia plotline is it's kind of similar to the simulation theories where, like, if the theory's foundation is that, like, oh, but it's a simulation, so this could have happened, then you could just make up anything, right? That's the same thing with the schizophrenic angle, right? If it's banking on that Hired is making shit up, then it's like you can just make up anything, right? Which is why it's funny.
We could get even crazier with it. Well, we could take this a step further. What if there's no giants in One Piece and it's really just Harden? Like we get a flashback, and then we have Harden dressed up as Road playing with the straw hats, and then we go outside and and then Harden's dressed up as like Gerd and Stanson, and then Harden's even pretending to be his dad in the flashback. Like, they're all just manifestations of Harden.
Yo, and then we zoom out of Elbaf very, like, ominously, and we get the reveal, just like how Oda retconned Gunko's name. We find out that there was never a Hiredin. But all of this is why you should not spend too much time on Elbaf. When you find out that Louis Arnaud has been cosplaying as the world's giants.
And Louis Arnaud has the mini no mi. So he's able to create mini clones of himself, and they're all just giants.
Yeah. The warning came from Louis Arnaud himself from this very beginning.
That could be it.
Yeah.
No, that's so fire, dude.
This flashback is all just a waste of space. So good. Let's just ignore this chapter specifically.
Let's ignore every chapter of Elbaf and every giant panel that disproves this theory, and just go with silly ass headcanon where every giant is actually just one person cosplaying. Loki doesn't exist. Hired doesn't exist. It's only Louis Arnaud, and every giant is just a manifestation of his devil fruit or dreams or just something weird. Yeah, great theory.
Where I draw the line, though, would be if Hiredin, like, because there is a funny thing where it's like Hiredin refuses to listen to Loki, and it's like that could be the trope of, like, those kinds of stories where the person doesn't listen to their alter ego type of thing, and they're just having that mental block that this is them, but, like, they're manifesting it, right? Like, if Hiredin ever says something that only Loki should know, oh, gloves are off. I'm making this schizophrenic video, bro. I don't care if all the comments are like, Pars lost his goddamn mind. You know what I mean? But it'll end up being something like Oda is going to go in the volume like, well, actually, Iron shouldn't have known this. So I'm just going to correct this like 18 chapters later. So
yeah, that's probably going to be the case.
Yeah. So apparently, we're just changing names. So yeah, we could do anything. The sky's the limit with these corrections now.
So we go on a little bit, and we see Estrid, the amazing queen of Elbaf. She is now slated to marry King Harald. She's into feng shui. She believes in spirits and energies and everything else. What does she call it? She calls it the 5-star kill position in Viz.
Ooh.
The mirror is in the 5-star kill position.
And his spirit is escaping to the east. That's a little different than his spirit. What is his spirit is leaking everywhere, like leaking out. Didn't it say leaking? Leaking is different than escaping to the east. What's happening in the east?
I don't know.
Yeah, the king's spirit is leaking out. Quick, shut the windows. To now, the spirit is escaping to the east. That's kind of spooky, actually.
Yeah. So Viz just now they updated their latest chapters. So it now says Saint Shamrock and Saintess Gunko of the Manmeyer family. So yes, it's now truly official in One Piece.
Oh wow, Saintess.
Yes. Saintess, which is a Viz thing. Yeah,
that's a first, right? Have we had a Saintess?
I think Viz calls them Saintesses.
Oh, that makes sense.
But if you've watched the anime in English dub or any other translation, Saintess isn't really a thing. But it is what it is. Shout outs.
Your good
But yeah,
luck
yeah, yeah.
is getting
5-star
away.
kill position. That's interesting. Isn't that what they call the Gorosei?
Wait, how? What, I said that, and then you're like, "Nah, shut the fuck up. That's so
I didn't
stupid."
say that. No, when?
Yeah, well, I was just like, "Wait, it doesn't." Well, TCB said the 5-star configuration. I was like, "Wait, isn't that like Gorosei coded? Does this refer to the Gorosei?" And you're
Yeah,
like,
no, no.
"Nah."
But I didn't believe you. But I believe in Dawn and Dusk because actually 4 hours ago, they posted Lost in Translation. They made a little thing about this. They said 5-star kill is a phrase that doesn't exist in Japanese. It's probably a term that Oda made up. But the word 5 stars, it does exist, and typically refers to the 5 planets and the 5 elder stars. I'm not saying that, like, you know, she's referring to the Gorosei here, but it's interesting that they're so similar.
Yeah, my chat
But
was
also,
saying
like, this is
that,
feng shui, so it could be close to that too.
Yeah, my chat was saying that the 5-star configuration is in feng shui. So that's I didn't look it up,
Yeah.
but
I'm looking at it right now. The 5 stars of feng shui, the do's and don'ts. The flying 5 stars is what it's called.
oh,
Huh.
the flying
flying
5.
star.
Why is that? Wait, what is the flying? Isn't that a One Piece
I don't know,
group?
dude. I'll hit up my ancestors and ask them for you.
Yeah, do that. But yeah, I mean, as far as that 5-star thing, like, it to me it was very clear that Oda is putting mysticism onto Astrid's character, but the question was like, which one's the most important one? And here, to me, in both readings, that 5-star thing, like, it's in the scope of like she knows magic, but like it might be from a different angle than like what the Gorosei know it as, and like that also exists in other fictions and but also our mythologies about how like magic works, like the dark magic, and then like how it relates to like like normal stuff. But as far as the Viz translation, the way they said this is really, because the East is important. East blue, that's where Luffy is. That's where the Gomu Gomu essentially was. Obviously, this timeline isn't, Luffy's not here yet. We don't know where the Gomu Gomu is, but why is the spirit is escaping to the East? Like that's
Stephen Paul, he highlighted the word spirit too.
Yeah.
Huh. I wonder. Is that important? Is this a Stephen Paul W? Maybe. I don't know. We'll see if this holds any significance like 100 chapters down the road.
And to also like emphasize, TCB said where it said spirit in the Viz, it says the energies are aligned. Kind of like astrology, crystal girly type of coded energies. And then in the second part, it says the King's spirit is leaking out. So there, in Viz, they don't say the King's spirit. It says your good luck. Instead of King's spirit, your good luck is getting away. Which that is kind of interesting. I need to look at the laws for that. Because
like, I think it could be interesting, but it could also just be her throwing shade at Ida and Hardin because they live in the village to the east. And right before she says your spirit's escaping to the east, she says, forget about that woman and child to the east. So if you follow her dialogue, it's forget about that woman and child to the east. Good heavens, the spirit is escaping to the east. So it could just be like, oh, like, you're thinking too much about them. Think about over here, and I respect it, man, people don't like it, but hey, Estrid, she's not, she's not the worst.
Oh, wait,
I appreciate it.
Her logic, if she said this thing, I'm like, wait, that's a good thing. Your good luck is getting away. So if my good luck is going to my son and, lover, take it. I better.
Oh, no, they're bastards, dude.
Yeah, I mean, not to me. That's to her. That's her words. Yeah, I'm not gonna let some woman put some words in my mouth. It looks like Harold
agrees with her.
No, he goes,
because right here,
that's no.
You, but he's hitting us with the ... He says, oh ... That's no .
He said the word no.
We no.
Script. There's no yes. There's no.
No. Hear me out.
No,
we don't know
what
he was gonna say. He was gonna say no. Yes, you're correct. I thought of that first.
There's no yes. I think
No,
you're just putting
no,
words in his mouth.
I thought of that first. You are correct, my new wife.
Your Honor, hearsay. Your Honor, objection. Hearsay.
No, Harold's all for it. The thing is, right? It's funny because Harold, obviously, jokes aside, he doesn't really like Estrid right now, but he does still get with her because they do have Loki eventually. So, he's not that upset.
He probably just did it in a cup. She seems like the type to poke holes.
No, dude.
She's a hole poker.
You're just an Estrid hater, brother.
She gave me the heebie-jeebies. I'm standing on that. Some people said it's
you are
the
just
eyes.
an Estrid hater.
No, hey, after I said that,
I
you're
don't
like,
get it.
Pars alone, no one would choose Ida over Estrid. You ran the poll on your own community, and even
I cannot, guys. You've let me down. How dare you guys vote for Ida over Estrid? I thought I was raising straight hitters, straight gooners, sigmas. You guys chose Ida? Oh my god, I'm so embarrassed.
They're not getting scammed by crystal girlies, bro. This is straight up. If a girl comes up to you and says, "I studied geomancy," that's like 7 layers deeper than, "Hey, what's your
it's
star
it's
sign?"
pretty bad. No, hear me out. It's pretty bad, right? But at least she's a looker, man. That's all I could say. I mean, that's more than Ida can say.
Dude, sometimes you just gotta run. This one, on my part, I agree with Sai that I don't think most people's reactions would be where mine was at, because I literally on stream I was shivering, bro. I was like my spine needed a recorrection, and then I didn't even know she was doing feng shui. I just looked at
Par's
her.
afraid of women.
Yeah. Oh. I mean, this one. Yeah. Whew. Mama raised me right, because apparently very soon after it was validated, and I didn't. But then I was like, because like then she started doing the gold digging, and I was, my mom was like, "Stay away from the gold diggers."
I mean, people call her a gold digger, but is she really though? Is she really like?
Okay, what's the first thing she does after she tosses her child off of literally the world? What does that look like to you, Sai? Huh? What is
She's putting gold and treasures in a suitcase and leaving. But hear me out, Par. What would you want her to do? Leave her money behind? Like, oh, Par, you have to flee the country. Quick, leave hundreds of dollars in your bed sheets. Like, no, what are you talking? No. You take your money with you. Like, I think that's a smart woman. Yeah,
but she also robbed Harold of it. These weren't hers. It wasn't in her room.
She's the queen, brother. What are you talking about? It's not hers.
Yeah, she's the queen. She doesn't have jurisdiction of the throne room like that. She took a.
Well, if the king is away, the queen has say so. What are we talking about here?
Yeah, but the thing is, you know what? It's conflated, because one, she's
Par,
using
if
that.
your wife makes a money decision because you're currently unavailable, would you be mad at your wife?
If she used crystal girly logic, if she starts bringing out the earthly winds in the east, are telling me the
but
gold
she didn't
is
do
back.
that at the end. You're holding that against her.
Yeah,
when she didn't do that in the end. In the end, she did not say, "Oh, the crystals are telling me to take the money." She doesn't say that.
Said, this is to ensure that the fortunes of wind and earth are sent in His Majesty's directions, and so she took the jewels out of the room.
Oh, you're going. Wait, what? At the very end?
No, at the beginning, when she took the jewels from the throne room.
Okay, that's different. You're saying that when she's packing your bags and leaving, though, she doesn't mention anything about crystals.
Yeah, but if her priorities are straight, right? She would just take her belongings and go back. But it's very clear.
And leave behind all of her money.
That's not her money.
That doesn't make any sense.
That's not her money.
It's her money. She
robbed their ass, bro.
She did not. You cannot rob
the gold.
If your wife said, "Oh, like I gotta go real quick. I need to take $200," would you say, "Oh, my wife is stealing money from me"? That son of a gun. No, you wouldn't say that.
One. Okay, here's
and then but before you said, "Oh, but she's using crystal girly logic." At the very end of the chapter, she's not. She did not even mention crystals or anything. No spirits. No wind magic.
She doesn't need to mention the
baby has demon eyes, Par.
Literally doesn't matter. Babies look fucked up anyways. Normal.
Oh,
like,
yeah, okay, yeah, but this is the
boogers.
normal part. What are you talking? Yeah, babies look effed up all the time, but babies do not have eyes of Sauron. What are we talking about here? You're acting like this is normal. This isn't even normal in the One Piece world.
Some kids come out with red eyes because they're albino. Like, the fuck you mean?
Yeah, but they do not have eyes like this, Par.
How many kids do you think were slaughtered like this because they just were albino, and then we're just like, oh shit, they're just normal. They just have red eyes.
Yeah, but they don't have serpent eyes. They're not like, vertical freaking slits.
First thing is, this is money that's in the royal castle of Elbaf. This is taxpayer money. She's robbing the nation. She's taking the money. This is the kingdom's
She's
wealth.
the queen. What are you talking about? It's her money anyways.
The queen can't just loot the castle.
It's not robbing if you own it, if it's yours.
Nah, dude. Where? They didn't even... Bro, at this point, she's robbing them. This is straight up...
It's not like she's breaking down doors and saying, I need King Harold's stash. No, dude, this is in her room.
I'd be like, who? This bitch is taking the money to her. I worked for years for all this.
No,
that was
dude,
from this
nobody
expedition.
Cares, man.
Yeah, dude, she just...
Nobody
Where's
cares.
the money, bro? This is like,
right,
it's like, okay, I'm going to put out universal healthcare. Oh, sorry. Estrid took all of the money for the nation. I want to start schools. I want to start a library. Oh, my bad. Estrid robbed us blind. Like, the fuck?
Par signed a prenup. We know. Okay, so...
What do you...
We see
that's not the same thing.
we see that Estrid was born in Alcohol Village. In Viz, they actually just say Brewers Village. So we get more context. In Viz, they just say Brewers Village, Alcohol Village. I'm not too sure which one is right. I think somebody came into your chat who spoke Japanese. They said it was something even different than that. I forgot what they said. They said it was more related to like alcohol. But yeah, over here in Viz, they say Brewers Village. And she doesn't study Di Feng or Feng Shui. Apparently in Viz, she studies geomancy. Which they put her ass in Final Fantasy. Wow, a geomancer. Okay, wait. We know what this is supposed to be. This is supposed to be Feng Shui. Do people call Feng Shui geomancy?
I think geomancy is like golems, right?
Geomancy is like it's like rock magic.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Right? Like golems, like whenever a geomancer is someone who can like, someone who
it's like an earthbender.
Yeah, but like I think
more in the Avatar live action, all the earthbenders were Chinese. Stephen Paul W.
That's a crazy one. I was gonna say, like, I feel like in fiction, there's not much I can go off of, but I feel like usually geomancer is applied when they're like doing like puppetry type shit, like golems.
Yeah. Okay, so I looked it up. So yes, geomancy and Feng Shui are similar. Feng Shui is like a specific type of geomancy, so they're not wrong. But I think it's still like a very broad term. I kind of wish
I guess like when you do that water thing with the
translation,
sticks, which actually is a real thing, right?
The
you
water
take
thing
the
with the
two
sticks.
rods and you look for the
yeah,
that's like a real thing. That is geomancy.
Okay. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, wow, I didn't even know that's the thing people do. I did that as a kid, but I thought it was just like a meme.
No, that's an actual thing.
Oh.
I mean, we have better technology, I think, now, but I'm pretty sure like that is a, what is that called? I forget. I
don't even know why we did that. I just saw that like I saw that like on a cartoon, and I did it, and I was like, oh, cool. I don't know what this is supposed to do though.
U.S. Geological Survey. Okay, let's see what the United States government says about water dowsing. Water dowsing.
Shout out my water dowsers.
To the practice of using forked sticks, rods, pendulum, or similar devices to locate underground water, minerals, or other hidden or lost substances, and had been a subject of discussion and controversy for hundreds, if not thousands, of years. In the classic, what does the science say about dowsing? Well, when dowsing is exposed to scientific examination, it presents a very different picture. The natural explanation of successful water dowsing is that in many areas, underground water is so prevalent close to the land surface that it would be hard to drill a well and not find water. In a region of adequate rainfall and favorable geology, it is difficult not to drill and find water. Some water exists under the surface. Oh, so they're saying this is bullshit.
No. It just so happens to be there, but it's not real. Oh wow, what the heck?
What?
Huh. Hey yo, any Japanese in here to translate this for us? That sounds kind of crazy. That's like racially charged. If you are a Japanese native speaker, or if you know Japanese, what is the name for the horse of good fortune? So in TCB they call him Asura, but in Viz they call him Asla.
Ooh. RL, there we go. That's interesting.
What is ASLA? The American Society of Landscape Architects. Okay. Huh.
Huh.
Yeah. So they called the horse Asla, which, I mean, it's more fitting with the naming scheme of Elbaf, I guess. I mean, Asura didn't fit either, don't get me wrong. I just don't know which one's right now, because they both could be right. Let me see. Let me look
Maybe
at
we're
a
supposed
different
to pronounce it
translation real quick.
Asla, like emphasizing the ass, because horses and donkeys, they got big ass.
Let me see. I'm looking at a different translation right now. What do they call this guy?
I mean, I'm just assuming it's just the RL swap. But then it'd be Asula.
In the other one, I'm looking at a different translation. They do say Asla.
I wonder.
But yeah, in TCB it's Asura. So I think 2 for 1. Viz might be correct here. Okay, yeah, we have a backer of the Viz. Yeah. Shout outs. Oh, I think Asla does make more sense. I thought Ashura was really odd. I remember like when I was doing my review, I was like, wait, why Ashura? Like that's a very I forget where it originates. I think it's with your people.
Buddhist? Not my people, but
yeah, my people actually.
Sorry,
Zoro's people. Yeah. I think Ashura is in a couple of different cultures, but yeah, Asla that fits. It's an 8-legged horse. He has a crazy mane. Of course, this is supposed to be the One Piece version of Sleipnir, Odin's horse. It's supposed to have 8 legs, and yeah, it's cool. Apparently, it dies in a year though, so we're not gonna spend too much time with them.
At the hands of Loki.
Yeah, Loki apparently kills the horse, which after seeing what Loki does to like the animals at the end of the chapter, not super shocking, but is it even him? We'll see. We go on 70 years in the past. We see that King Harald apparently is visiting Wano. I didn't even notice this. People pointed it out. They said like the clouds, the peaks, it looks very Wano-esque. And something I didn't notice. This is crazy. Somebody said, "Oh, Sai, there's Wano samurai in the panel." I was like, "Wait, what? What are you talking about?" I thought they're talking about the panel where like King Harald's talking with the fisherman, but no. The panel where King Harald is holding up the boat, if you look really closely, you see people with like little lines across their waist, which should be katanas. And I was like, what the hell? How did anybody notice that? So shout out to everybody who noticed that. But yeah, King Harald visited Wano, told him about the polar star, how he navigates, and he comes back home. He tells him about King Neptune, about fishermen in general, yada yada. And what do you think about all this? What do you think about King Harald's travels? I'm surprised we didn't hear more about him while we were out and about. That'd be pretty cool. Like we go to Wano and they're like, yeah, King Harald. People talked about him a while back.
Yeah, the Wano one was interesting too because like I was like, wait, he didn't go to Wano? He just saw a ship off of Wano. Yeah, but that's interesting in and of itself because the timeline, right? Because this is before Odin is born, but Sukiyaki is probably a kid. I think this is just the beginning of the Kurozumi massacre. I might be messing that up the timeline wise. I'm double checking because we do know a ship leaves Wano, and that's like that's how Shimotsuki village was founded. It was like 50-ish years ago the ship left Wano. Which this is 7 years ago, so that means 20 years prior, someone had made a venture over. So I'm looking at the Kurozumi
About
things. So more
81
than
years ago.
81 years ago, they were one of the family things. And then when did the Kurozumi, the hunt, when did that happen? That was when it was with Orochi wasn't even alive, right? Like it was before him.
No, it was before Orochi was alive.
Almost 40 years later, the grandson of, oh no, that's Orochi, yeah. So in following years, at some point after, oh, so we don't know.
Yeah, we don't
It's
have like
just,
a specific time frame.
yeah, so I would imagine that that ship is Kurozumi, for a lot of reasons, but because they're being hunted, they're trying to escape. And this is something I was saying even prior when we had the data point that this ship left, and it was the Shimotsuki. It was like, oh well, why were they leaving? It was like maybe there was, you know, crazy stuff happening, and there was, and you know, it might be that the Kurozumi tried also leaving back then, which could be when Higurashi, you know, Higurashi and the other guy's name, I always forget that guy's name, but maybe that they were on this ship. It'll be interesting because Higurashi also a character that's like connected to so many people, like rocks. Like, how did that happen? You know?
Yeah.
And then like, if we find out that Higurashi was the reason why Rocks had like a good relationship with Elbaf because Higurashi had met Harold, oh my god, that'd be crazy. Yeah. So, and also another thing is that because it's interesting because you see the Sea of Wano, but Wano was isolated. That's supposed to reflect the isolationism. The walls are closed, like so. Like Harold shouldn't have been able to get up there, but also seeing samurai inside of Wano that's a crime. It's illegal. So like that's how it should be reflected. So this ship is an interesting data point. Not sure what Oda's going to do with it, but it is also telling that for some reason we have the depiction that the ship wasn't using its sails, which is usually how we find out whose ship it is. So the sails are furled, which is like, why is it on the ocean if like it's not sailing?
Could even be like Shimotsuki, like the people who eventually came to Zoro's village, right?
No, that was 51 years ago.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, eventually it could be them.
No, they left 51 years ago.
Yeah. And we're still 70 years in the past.
Right. So then this wouldn't be them. This would be
no. What I'm saying is that eventually, like, this could be them.
Oh,
like eventually,
okay.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah,
because we don't know if like the people right now are actually leaving.
Yeah, it's just that's a connotation, right? Because even when they talked about Kozuburo, they were like he was a criminal for leaving. That was a crime.
Yeah.
So if you leave, Odin, another one, but yeah, like as far as the normal people, it would be that would be the case. Now we could also have a fun plot line where it's like Sukiyaki, if his age line. Do we know how old Sukiyaki is actually?
He should be alive right now.
Yeah, but is he a child?
Sukiyaki is 80 something? 81.
78? How he's 81?
Yes.
Oh shit. Wait, does that line up?
So he should be about like what, 11 right now?
11 right now. Nah, it can't be 11
yeah, well, essentially, like when it comes to like this Wano ship, there's so many options, right? It could be the Kurozumi leaving. It could be just Wano citizens wanting to sail around Wano, not necessarily leaving. It could be people gathering knowledge to leave Wano one day, like the Shimotsuki. Like there's a lot of open-ended things here, so we don't know who this could be. If it even is like an important character, right?
Yeah. I think because Odin was a criminal too, so like I think Sukiyaki was annoying. He was very, very annoying. So it wouldn't make sense it'd be like someone righteously like, yeah, like it would be like treason, execution, the isolationist period. So it'll be interesting though. I think that this actually is an important page panel for more reasons than one. For sure. Yeah.
So
next part's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I was going to say, after that, we get like the King Neptune mention. He says, in a kingdom where those with fish blood live, their king has a newborn heir named Neptune. All the creatures of the sea, not just the mermaids and fishmen, were engaged in a grand celebration that spanned the seafloor. It was pretty cool. They all celebrated Neptune's birth.
Differently worded than TCB. People carry the blood of the ocean. Those with fish blood. That's interesting.
Fish blood, yeah. If somebody said that, I'd be like, wait, what? Just giant fish? What are we talking about here?
Yeah, I mean, I do want, like, Neptune doesn't make sense. Neptune and Shirahoshi, they're big for no reason. And they're both of their fish are like some of the smaller fishes too. Like Shirahoshi's like the Japanese whiting fish or something like that. And then Neptune is a cochleanth fish, I think. So it's like a sizable fish, but not necessarily like Neptune size. And then I was thinking, like, damn, like if they have giant blood, then technically in a few years, I don't know if Kokoro said this about men too, but in a few years, Shirahoshi will be able to walk on land because her legs would split. She'd be a giant.
Her legs would split. She'll get some good old feet.
Oh, yeah. So that's interesting.
And then she can just get back her fin whenever. So it's like, just like
Best
a passive you turn off.
Like Hannah Montana.
Yeah, that is true. Like Hannah Montana.
Yeah.
So we make another time skip. We're now 63 years in the past. While Harald was away from home, Loki is born. He has those crazy eyes. The queen gets really scared of it. She says it's terrifying. And then she throws it down into the underworld. And we see that Loki survives. He survives his trip down. A trip that would have killed Hardin and the new giant warrior pirates, which I still think is just hilarious, right? Hardin saying, like, we're done, guys. We didn't take the lift. We're dead. But baby Loki tanked all of that. And he also killed what seems to be a giant bear. Decapitated it. He's a monster. The queen was not wrong. This baby is an abomination. And it's kind of terrifying, man. I mean, I'm not saying I agree with the queen, but it is a monster of a baby. And I just got to ask, Par, but what do you think about all this? What do you think about the eyes, Estrid, etc.? Where are you?
Well, I'm not going back down the trauma well. We did that on the Parcast, but I didn't claim a W. This is on your channel. I'm about to claim this W because when I said, "Yo, would falling from this height even kill you?" People came out. I was like, "Bro, if Ronya fell." Like she probably doesn't die. I was like, if Scopper didn't have Chopper.
Okay, wait. I think most people would die. It's just that Loki's different.
Okay, sure. Okay, Loki's different, but like he's a day old in like that's a crazy level of difference. Like he's literally.
I mean, that just speaks volumes on how much of a monster he is. Like I think you're underplaying this feat now. It's not even a W you're claiming.
I'm not saying it's a. I'm not saying. Like listen, if. Look, he's so good off of like he's a little bloodied. He's climbing.
Okay, wait a minute.
Yeah, sure. Loki's a monster. He lifted up his neck. He's dope. He's awesome. Cool. But if you're to tell me that like a giant couldn't, it's not survivable height now. Like yeah, maybe they get like
if
insanely injured.
Ronya were to fall, you believe that Ronya would have survived?
Whether I believe it or not, all I'm saying is it's not so unbelievable that she lands in like a pocket of snow and she's maybe paralyzed, but like if a 1 day old survives it,
but
and has no
this
injuries.
Is a Loki feat. What are you talking about? No. Ronya would be cooked.
Yeah,
Ronya would be cooked.
Maybe she'd be cooked alive. Like maybe she would be paraplegic.
Oh my god.
Like guys,
Loki surviving the fall is no big deal. Ronya could have tanked this.
No,
Okay.
All I'm saying is that
I see where you're going
perspective, right? Because like everyone else, they're looking at this. They're like, oh my god, that's an unsurvivable height that he's falling from. My perspective was already that damn, he might survive this. And look at that, I was right. That I was like, yeah. Like, I'm
I
thinking,
mean, of
like,
course,
hey,
Loki survives this. Yeah, I mean, that's not crazy.
no, but the shock value is that, oh my god, she killed whatever, but like we know it's Loki and whatever. So I'm like, yo, he survived it. Survivable height. That the math is
No,
computating.
it's. What are you talking
This is
about?
this
The
is a
reason why this
survivable
is
height.
only to Loki. That's why it's so shocking when he's climbing up the tree.
Okay, yeah, okay. If you're putting, like, I don't know, 1 day old Loki above everybody on Elbaf at any point of their age, that's crazy. 1 day old Loki is not above.
What do you want me to say? I can't dispute it. I mean, we have proof here. Harden and the new Giant Warrior Pirates are like, well, we're cooked, guys. And
No,
then
the
we have
conclusion is
Ronya,
it's a
who's about to
survivable height.
die.
If you can't reasonably say that 1 day old
I don't
Loki
think it's a
is
survivable
that
height.
much above everybody else, then it's a survivable
I think
height.
Loki's a monster. Loki's a monster, brother.
Oh, so then you're saying 1 day old Loki is above everybody because no one else would survive this because Loki is that much of a monster that 1 day old Loki is that much beyond everyone. I'm saying it's a survivable height because it's a 1 day old Loki. That's all I'm saying.
Oh man, I'm holding the pole right now. I'm holding the pole. Could other characters survive the fall that Loki took? Okay,
at
should I
any
just put
point in their
Ronya?
life, like at their prime, 1 day old Loki's not better than prime people, bro. Like, this is
Okay, when you say
survivable.
prime people, we only have two characters to, we got to be fair here. There's only two other characters who mentioned dying at that height. It was Ronya and it was Harden.
You're saying older brother Harden couldn't survive what his little brother went through on the first day of his life?
It's not even like I'm saying that. Harden said it.
And he didn't die.
You're acting like I put words in Harden's mouth. Like,
maybe
you think
if
Harden
he didn't rely
he's
on
the one who
Luffy,
said it.
Maybe if he didn't rely on Luffy, he'd realize he could have survived it. Who's to say that? He literally, Loki goes, I'll kill everybody. He's like, wait, stop. I'm afraid of that hypothetical, even though you're on death's door. He's afraid of everything in that conversation anyways. Oh, I would have died from the side. He's Harden's silly, bro. The thing is, if Luffy didn't save him there, all that would mean is that Harden and Loki would have been that much closer as brothers because Harden would have fully understood what Loki went through. And he would have been like, damn, he went through this on day one, and I barely took this at the prime age of 81. You know what I'm saying? Divided by 3, what's that? 81 divided by 3, like 31? No, 27. Yeah, he's in his prime right now. This is prime Harden. It's a survivable height. It's a survivable height, bro.
So we have Stanton saying this is an emergency. If Loki escapes, we're all going to die. And then they look down and Harden says, I thought I could use a little bit of buoyancy before the clouds disappeared. It's all over. We're all going to die. And then Harden says, sorry, guys, I made the wrong call. Rhodes says, what a life. Goldberg says, I don't blame you, Harden. You were thinking about Elbaf after all.
And that's a natural... I'm sure
they were saying goodbye,
while
man.
1 day
I don't
old
know.
Loki was falling from the sky, he was like, damn, I'm cooked. Like, I think
so you think this is a survivable height. So Ronya would survive this height.
If 1 day old Loki could speak, he would say the same shit on the way down too. He'd be like, damn, I'm probably dead here. You know what I mean? This looks like I would die, but he survived. That's my point. It's just that, like, you're pulling on the conversation where, like, the people are expecting death and then they didn't die, and it's like, yeah, all that stuff. But then it's like, okay, if we allowed Loki to speak because he's 1 day old, and he didn't die, I would expect him to also show fear in falling from the heavens. You know what I mean? Is it that crazy that Harold and his adult crew are like, fuck, this looks like I would die, but they never tested it.
I'm holding the poll right here. Would Ronya survive this fall, or would she be cooked?
Here, let's go at this. You love to go this way, but you use this the other time. Sai,
I'm throwing out the poll.
How many people have died from falling off the thing? If you can't prove it, must be true. I remember you came on to us.
It goes the other way too. It goes the other way too, Par.
Wait,
here, I'm putting up the poll right now.
if wait. If
You're going
no
off a
one,
sample. You're going off of samples, and the thing is, we only have one sample of Loki surviving. We have no idea if the next giant would die to this fall. It's the same in reverse. We're in a stalemate. But I am holding a poll right now.
You know what?
It says,
You know what?
since
I got
Loki survived a fall, would Aronia survive if she fell?
One day old Loki on the same tier as Yonko Kaido. They both survived. Yeah, almost. Yeah, Kaido wasn't climbing up a thing. You know what I mean? Like one day old Loki's Yonko tier. Honestly, yeah, that makes sense. The feet. Oda loves changing. Maybe. Oh, you know what it was? Time dilation.
Time dilation hit in the sky. Loki aged 3 times right there. Yeah, you got 3 times the durability. Blah blah blah. Yeah,
slowed down divided by 3 is survivable, brother. There's a time flux in the sky. It's in the air.
We'll revisit the poll results here in a little bit. We'll have some conversation about that.
You know, it's not fair. They don't hear my sound logic. I don't even want to see what kind of bullshit you put up on.
They don't need your. Well, the thing is, if they had your logic, we'd have people just riding around, falling off of cliffs. Oh, I'm on the 3rd floor. Everything's, I want to get down quicker. Let me just jump off because I'll tank it. No, we don't need your logic out here, Par. It's fine. You know what?
Hold on. I have the perfect person.
No, that's okay.
Hold on. This is, you about to get cooked, dude.
No way people are voting yes on this poll.
Dude, you're about to get 2 for 2 this weekend on polls by your own community.
No. 6. Oh, I mean, it just started. 6 people said that Ronya would tank it. 6 people said that she'd be dead.
What did you write? What kind of bullshit? You wrote specifically Ronya? Of course, Sai would.
Yeah, because you used Ronya as an example. Of course, I'm using Ronya in the poll.
No, I sat back. Everybody. I said Hiradin was the person who made me realize this. And then
but you said that Ronya would be alive. You said she might be paralyzed, but she'll be alive.
No, but like Hiradin was the prototype, right? Because then when we got to the Ronya situation, then I was like, would she actually die? Do you guys really think she would die? And then we got the Scopper
Ronya is a great person to put the poll up against.
Why didn't you use Scopper? Scopper was the one I stood on business. I was like, we don't need Chopper here. He would have survived it.
Dude, I'm just saying, man. We'll wait for the poll results.
I gotta read the.
No, we will wait for the poll results. We'll revisit it later. People want to hear about the Loki eyes.
I want to see what you wrote.
I wrote straight facts. I gave a very, middle of the road poll. It simply says verbatim: since Loki survived a fall to the underworld, would Ronya survive if she fell? It's that simple. Yes or no?
Here, check this out. Hold on. Who is okay, this is the group. Let me see. And then it's this guy. Okay, and then
what are you doing?
At the end of his story, hold on, I got you. Hold on. Okay.
What's going on?
Perfect.
What'd you just set up?
Gedatsu. Do you know my man Gedatsu?
That's the guy from Skypiea the Priest.
One of Nell's. What happened after he fought Chopper? Where did he fall from? He's not Kaido. Hit the ground. Survived.
He's a different beast, though.
Oh, he's day 1 Loki, bro. Chopper took out. Oh my god, day 1 Loki mogged by Gedatsu, the god. Kaido learned from this guy.
You're comparing these falls, but you're not comparing the soil and the earth they hit.
Bro, the Estrus Gatra, the geomancy, the soil composition.
Have you checked the soil bar? I don't think you have, brother. But that's enough about this part. The eyes, man. What are the eye theories, brother? Why does he have these ugly, scary eyes?
I like how he went after I'm out here like shit.
No, I'm
Okay,
still gonna win. I'm looking
the
at the poll
eyes.
right now. You know, the poll is swaying in my favor little by little. This is gonna be the best poll ever created. We're
If
gonna have
you
all the
voted
votes.
no in the poll that she'd die, I just want you to come to this video and just remember Gadatsu, because he's not dead. You don't have to remember him. He's in the story, and he's making Boku bucks, as Sai puts it. Man, he has a hot
Yeah,
spring off
the
of
fall from the
Alabasta.
underworld. I think that's how, I don't think Gadatsu would survive that one.
Sky, he falls from the sky. Normal human. This is some Pell level shit too. I
Well,
remember thinking
you
he
call him a
died.
normal human. He's actually just, you know, he's a sky priest. Thank you very much.
He's a heaven.
You got
He's God's
you got to put
soldier.
respect. Yeah, it's you're talking about God's soldier. I mean, come on, dude.
Speaking of weird constitutions of the Birkins. Yeah, these eyes, I have no fucking clue. All I know is that I was wrong on stream, which is funny because I forgot. I always talk about the Sulong, but the only other people from, again, my knowledge, and at least so you mentioned on stream, the only people that Oda's given blackened eyes is Sulong. Minks in the Sulong form, they get the red eyes with the double layered eyes, the same that Mihawk and Emu have, but they also get the blackened eyes. So it is interesting because you also get the animalistic snake cat thing here. Does that mean he has mink blood in him? I don't think so. Even if you were to say that, he's not looking at the moon. It's not like he can see the moon. It's very interesting, so to say, but like, I do have a lengthy video on the eyes and all that stuff, and I will admit I did not register the blackened eyes, but that's also because there was no other thing. There's no pattern to parallel with. There's no connection to play off of. But the Sulong get their eyes or that form from the wild memories of their past. So does Loki have some kind of like? I like the way you put it. I don't know if I would say it's the same vein as Shirahoshi, but Shirahoshi is essentially a character that has a power from an ancestor, Poseidon. And so it's literally the story of a past Poseidon 800 years ago, whatever, and Shirahoshi is embodying it and is tapping into that power that previous person existed that has no justification for being inside Shirahoshi other than being direct descendant of. So that's where like Loki, they have the pure blood, the ancient giant stuff. Maybe it's something like that, like the ancient giants have some kind of like secret power that Loki is able to tap into. And so like I am on the boat that these eyes are not just aesthetic. There is some power. I don't know what the power is. And the reason why I was saying like I don't know if I put it in the same vein as Shirahoshi is because then I'd be saying is Loki like having like a ancient weapon level power. Maybe not. Maybe sure. A lot of people thought Uranus would be on Elbaf, but as far as the what it could be like commanding the animals. It could be something like that. But it is curious to me that Loki has the stature he has as an adult, where he's very hated. He's hated before the dad stuff. He was not liked. He was tolerated to the point where the only solace the denizens of Elbaf had said citizens, whatever, had was when King Harald was home. Because when King Harald is home, Loki wouldn't act out. But when Harald left, now we know why he was leaving, Loki would act up and he garnered a very negative reputation. So, and from what we can gather, he had the rap the entire time. So the question is, why did he keep the rap on? Is it like Cyclops, from X-Men? Like, does he constantly channel a power that's like overwhelming, or does it tax him? An example would be myself, where like I have to. There was a point in my life I would wear sunglasses to like limit my vision so that I wouldn't like overtax my. I'd get extremely tired just from like the thing. So I would wear sunglasses. Sometimes I do that on stream too. Some people have that. I think it's like hypersensitivity, some shit like that. Something hyper. Anyways, Or there's another one. I think Sai brought up the possibility that like Loki, though his mom apparently passes away a year after his birth, it could be that like he has mommy issues, which I agree with. Probably gonna end up having mommy issues, but maybe he heard that she had an issue with his eyes, so he just hid them in thoughts to her.
Since you mentioned mommy issues, that reminds me of like one of my. It's not a favorite show of mine. The more I think about The Boys, the more I'm like, ah. But I used to like The Boys a good amount during season 1, and Homelander, the main, like I'd say the main character essentially, he has mommy issues, and what he does to cope with it is that he drinks a profuse amount of breast milk, and he likes being breastfed as an adult. I wonder if Loki has like the same thing where like he goes around just looking for breast milk.
Well,
okay, so,
that is one way.
Yeah.
My way was that Mosa
Shout out to
being
The Boys.
Hiredin's mom, which was a theory I was saying prior to knowing who Hiredin's mom was. I was like, hey, him having mommy issues, but it was like, hey, Hiredin. No, like he wouldn't know, but the irony would be that he's talking to Hiredin's mom, like, and in such a like, not equal, but like he cares about Mosa. So if it ended up being Hiredin's mom, it'd be really ironic. Which apparently, from few of the people looking at the Raws, there is a crossroads where there is connection between how Mosa, Estrid, and Ida all speak in how they refer to themselves, like they say Anata or something. They all have that connection. So while Mosa has a polite speech manner which reflects Estrid more than Ida, there is some connection with Ida there. Just pointing that out, not saying here or there. But yeah, and now knowing Ida, I feel like there is a world where like she was trying to, help out, and then knowing that Loki got tossed out off the roof of the building by his mom, caused mommy issues, it would make him very susceptible to someone who's like mothering him, and then he'd misunderstand that as like a different kind of relationship, not necessarily a romantic one, but like the desire for that relationship would be amplified by his lack of awareness of his mommy issues, which maybe he's aware of it, I don't know. But yeah, it's all pretty interesting. This chapter puts a lot of very interesting variables together.
Yeah.
Especially with how durable and survive. Like he is truly like, this is like a one of one character right here.
Yeah, surviving a fall that I think everybody else could. It's crazy. So as far as his eyes go, I'm on the same boat as you actually. I believe that his eyes stem from the past. I don't think the Void Sentry. I think these are eyes from the first world. I think Shirahoshi's like the reincarnation of the Void Sentry princess, and then Loki could be a reincarnation of like a first world creature. Right now, I'm leaning towards the karmic Hellfire Serpent that the Earth God had, and the one that the Earth God used to fight against the Sun God. I think that's what Loki has. What does that mean? I have no clue. It could give him powers. It could give him a transformation. It could give him like crazy eyesight, control over animals. I think that is yet to be seen, but we will see it soon. I obviously, like with these eyes, I doubt it's going to be nothing like, oh, it's just an Oda art style choice. I don't think that's going to be the case. Oda has hid the eyes for quite a while now. I think it is because he has mommy issues, but also, like you said, like maybe it is like Cyclops where he unleashes his eyes and bad things do happen. Maybe Loki has geomancy, right? Maybe these eyes explain the red line, right? We don't know what the red line is necessarily, but people do call it the blood-soaked serpent. And, before that, people called it like the Ouroboros. People said it was Jormungandr even. So what if it's like that, where his eyes can perform geomancer tricks? And that's how the Hellfire Serpent became the red line, due to geomancy of some sort. Maybe that is it. Maybe he opens his eyes and he is like an earthbender. I don't know. Or maybe he can like Boa Hancock, right? People fall in love with her, they turn into stone. Maybe it's the same effect with Loki. He turns people into rocks. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. Which is kind of funny because when we got the translations at the start, I saw like the wind earth arts, whatever, and that immediately my elemental hockey agendas theories where in the first one I was like, hey, listen, if we get like, I put examples of water, air, and like Fishman karate, but like specifically, I didn't have Robin at the time, but koala. But now we have Robin. There's two people that are like able to manipulate water, and they're not fishmen. So like, it's not Fishman specific. It's able to be taught, and not just taught. It was taught by koala. Like they were confident. They're like, hey, you either choose like Sabo's palm technique or koalas, and they went with koalas. But that also implied that Sabo's one that used air would be something that Robin could have learned, a normal person. So like very interesting. And then we obviously lightning. Sulong specifically have lightning. And that would, and I was basically saying like Earth, the best place would be giants. There's stereotypically in fiction always related to that, and so we get that. And now we have the geomancers. The red line is tied to them. The red serpent. How Loki connects to all that. Has he inherited some kind of like great control over the red rock there? That Dory and Brogy introduced us to it by saying that the only thing that we cannot pierce is I think that's what they said. Pierce is the red serpent, the blood-soaked serpent. Which red line? That's something that
makes it sound like they've tried it before too, right?
Yeah, and some, interesting. Like, it's interesting because like they have carvings in the red line. Like the red line has been cut. Like they had built a staircase into it. like, I want to know who built those stairs.
They didn't pierce it. They chiseled it.
So you can't pierce it, but you can slowly grind away at it.
Yeah.
So I mean, legal jargon there. Some lawyers were involved with the building the what would that be called? The geomancing? No, I don't know what that'd be. Point is that these eyes, I mean, we don't even know what color they are technically. Like they could be red.
Yeah, it could be red, could be purple, could be blue.
Yeah. It's kind of spooky. But I think the greatest thing for me and this eye reveal, I think it's twofold. Was one that because he was like bandage wrapped them, like, and he was tied up. I think it was not wrong to assume like, oh, maybe these are injuries, or maybe these were punishments. Punishments like, oh, like maybe his eyes had powers that they couldn't hold, and then so they took out his eyes. But like maybe it was devil fruit related. No, this is the reason why he was cursed, like considered the cursed child. And then it was an afterthought about that prophecy that Esther just happened to remember then, like, this is the long foretold prophecy of King Harald. His son would kill him, and so like, that got tacked on, as well as every other misfortune that Elbaf went through, all because he was born with these eyes. And it, like, I almost wonder where Loki is at with these eyes. Like, are these something that he has mastered? Is it something that needs to be mastered? Is it something that sets him apart? Is it something that he, like, that is the reason why he is attributed to killing Harold? Like, is there, like, there's so many weird things that these eyes can be associated with. Another one being that here's the other part, is that when the Sulong go into their Sulong form, it's a detriment to them, because if they could be like, if they can't control it properly, it could waste their lifespan. It could kill them because it's like so taxing. So maybe the eyes, like if he constantly uses them or like whatever, then maybe his lifespan gets shortened. It could be that like maybe that's a secret to the ancient giant thing. They get so big because their lifespan is shrunk to expand their power, maybe make them grow faster. I don't know. But maybe that's where these eyes, that's why he bandages them. It could be something like that, where it's like, it's to preserve his own life. Maybe it's to protect the others. We don't know. It's so weird where we're at with it, because I don't think that there's a reason for Loki to be ashamed of it, which is why I'm leaning towards maybe like he has to do it to protect himself rather than protect others, because if it's protecting, he doesn't care about other people. Might is right with him, right? So like if he weren't bandaged and these things were able to fight back, right, then that would be a reason other people would bandage it for him. But we see him walking around plain as day in the flashback when he's not even a kid, right? He's a kid, an adult. He's not tied up. He still has the bandages. So that's his choice at that point, right? And as a kid, you could think like, oh, he's doing it because the other people bully him, like Flampe or Katakuri or some shit like that. But Loki's not that kind of a character, and I don't understand how you would bully Loki. The only person that could probably bully Loki or even come close would be Big Mom at that point.
Probably hurt his feelings though.
And then what would he do? He'd hurt your feelings and call your mom a dirty whore. Like, it's not that.
That is also true.
Yeah, and so that, and then how does that apply to when Loki's walking into the castle with Jarl? At that age, is he self-conscious? Is he like, oh no, Jarl's gonna think I'm a freak, so I'm gonna hide these eyes for him and my dad? Like, I don't think his dad and Jarl give a shit. And then we literally saw him kick the guard, like, for not letting him in the room. It's not like he cares about his well-being, right? And clearly he stared. Like, if it was like the other one I was thinking was Saturn. Like, we still don't know how that power works. We just blows up people's heads. But we probably not the case because like Estrid's alive and the other people are alive that saw him. So it is interesting.
Yeah, I think we kind of just assume that one is chalked up to his Yuki powers.
Yeah. But my point being is that like that was one time where Oda emphasized the eye, and the eyes are different. He didn't give it to the other Gorosei, or we haven't seen it yet. And maybe like Loki can do something like that. Because other than that, what is it? Like something Three-Eyed Tribe, which we don't even know what that's about.
Yeah, these would be like the first eye powers in the series, essentially.
Yeah, the first Sharingan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which high hopes for Loki, man.
Very high. Very high. While he's at his lowest, we're at our highest.
There we go. That's poetic, really.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we go on. We see that Estrid has fallen ill. Most likely because she's getting into her own head about this, right?
Yep.
Next up, we have King Harald, who is, what does it say? He's busy banging his head against the problems of national relations. Wow. This kind of went all out on that one.
Let me see what TCB said, because that's a fun one. Meanwhile, Harald struggled against the walls of diplomacy versus Viz. And while Harald was busy banging his head against the problem of national relations.
I love that. That's so funny.
I'm not gonna lie. One of them
banging his head
like
right now.
One of them sounds like AI translated, right?
A little bit.
A little bit. I'm not gonna say names, but
I'm not gonna call people out, but yeah. So we see that Ida is pretty excited for Hardin to meet his brother. So it looks like Ida is gonna be like the mom that Loki should have gotten. You know, it's one of those things, right? Found family. That's like a big theme in One Piece. So looks like Oda is bringing that back up right here. And then we learned that all the misfortunes that would fall upon Elbath will be soon known as Loki's curse, which kind of funny thinking about the next curse that pops up, and that's the fact that Yorl gets cooked. I just love knowing that, like, yeah, Yorl dies, like, next chapter, that's going to be part of Loki's curse. It's like, damn, bro.
True. Actually, no, they didn't put that on Loki. They put that on Big Mom, technically. Awesome that Big Mom took that.
But when they talked about Loki and his curse, they put that in there.
True, they did.
Yeah, when we first heard about Loki and they talked about like the accursed prince, I think it's literally like the first thing they mentioned. It is Yorl dying. They
basically said it's not that he was cause of it. He's the bad luck.
He's the bad luck.
Yeah.
Let me go back. So I'll read through like everything they mentioned. It's
comes back
here.
To this chapter about the good luck, bad luck. That's actually a very interesting dichotomy that Oda is creating here, the good luck, bad luck, which is something we've always knew that he would eventually put in because of Baccarat from Film Gold, like the very in our face luck aspect, but this is interesting, you know? Hiredin's the boy of luck. Loki's the boy of bad luck. Is that what it is?
Yeah, pretty much.
But it's not really luck. That's what Oda's saying. It's like, it's just coincidence. Well, it's not even coincidence. It's just people's perspective. It's not
Yeah,
really
they just
bad
think
luck.
it's him.
Yeah. Which I want to just, we went on a huge rant about the Viz TCB translation, and we already got our next conversation about that approved. Next time the people want to come at us, you know, we have the next topic already
It's
approved
funny,
by our overlords.
I held the poll on YouTube as well. Like, what do people read? Viz versus TCB versus both. Both won out,
Oh,
which
awesome.
is kind of cool. Yeah.
That's
People
great
read
that
both.
your community, especially a spoiler heavy community, is engaging in both, you know, and I think that's the best way to engage with it. Is like, listen, if the scanlations did not exist, I would 100% be going over to my best friend's house and ask his mom and dad, hey, could you read this to me? Like, he's Japanese, so I just hey, Mama-san, can you please? Like, I wouldn't say that, obviously that's racist, but I would just be like, hey, can you? I'm not gonna say his last name, so you know, could you please translate? I would do that. That would be my version of fan scans. I would go to like the first Japanese person I know and like have them also translate. This is really what's being said here. Especially was it last chapter where Luffy said he'd beat up everybody? I would 100% bring that to my best friend's parents and be like, hey, is Luffy really saying he's gonna beat up everyone, or is he saying that he'll beat up the person for if they act out of line? And they're like, yes, that is the correct translation. And then boom, it'd be my version of it. And I want to bring that up here because Ida in the Viz goes, hey, can I see the baby too? He's your brother. Which is not the
Wait, what? Wait, I didn't even notice that. Wait, can I see the baby too?
He's not
asking
your son,
Hardin.
so he's not my brother. Oh,
Wow,
you're even
yeah.
like
She's classic Ida asking her son for permission to go see another kid. That's
dude,
fucking
dude.
This guy is Stephen Paul.
At this point, he's just doing it at the end of the chapter just to give us content to talk about. Like, this is what it is.
Dude, that Paul, man.
For the record, TCB says, hey, he's your little brother. Don't you want to see the little guy? And then Hiredin responds, if he's not your kid, Mom, then there's no way I can call him my little brother. And then Ito goes, oh, sweetie, you're so cute even when you say such awful things. That makes way more sense than what the fuck happened here. Hey, can I see the baby too?
Yeah, and then Hardin says in Viz, he's not your son, so he's not my brother. And then the mom says, oh, you're even sweet like that.
This family's awful.
Dude, I don't know, man. Watch out, Par. You're gonna have some Viz defenders come out and say, well, actually, the mom, of course she's asking Hardin for permission to see Loki. I mean, what are you guys not seeing? Dude. Stephen Paul is our god.
Yeah, don't you know that Hardin famously is holding the 1-year-old infant right now? Like, that's
Hardin's blocking the door to Loki. Which, I mean, to be fair, right? Like I said, the Viz does get some things right here and there that TCB doesn't. You know, I think Asla is the correct translation. You know, like I said, I go with majority rules and whatever, logic dictates. Mm-hmm. Logic doesn't always follow the Viz, though. Like, if I swear to God, if we had a checklist of things that the Viz has gotten wrong versus things that TCB has gotten wrong, the Viz list would be massive. People always say, oh, but TCB gets things wrong too. Yes, but can you pull up examples that gravely change the story? Like, I don't think so.
My list,
I don't think that list really exists.
My list is that the Viz list is 100% funnier.
Oh yeah, Viz is funnier. Don't get me wrong. Like, I love the Viz. If I ever wanted a good laugh, just bring up the Viz, man. Holy crap!
Like, I wanna know the scene, the direction. Like, I want to see like an anime director like try to paint out the scene where the mom that got kicked out of castle is asking Hardin, her toddler son, can I see the baby? Can I see
the baby, Hardin? Please, let me see the baby.
Yeah, in what world is she asking him they're both in the same village in the same situation. Obviously, he doesn't have the baby. We saw the baby get tossed. Like, if he was holding the baby and she goes, "Hey, can I see him too?" That would make sense. But that's not the case.
Wow, dude, we almost went through a whole chapter with Viz being like decent, and then you just had to bring this up, Par. Oh man, you're a scan scum reader, man. I can't believe this. How much is TCB paying you?
I think what it is that Stephen Paul is consistently because the did you hear the trees, Hyrodin? That was also the last panel of the chapter. I think what it is Stephen Paul has a stamina dip.
Yeah.
At the end of the
it's
chapter.
Stamina related.
His like translation clock just like stops clocking. He's not clocking the business
That's
anymore.
so
you know
funny.
what I mean? Like,
and shout outs, but somebody reminded us that Stephen Paul, like they're like, oh guys, but Stephen Paul's been, he's translating since like, chapter 700. Yeah, that makes it even crazier though, right? That he gets things wrong. Like we're talking about like a industry expert, a professional, a veteran, and he's still getting like the most basic phrases wrong. I feel like that speaks volumes. I don't know. Like when people are like, oh, but this guy's been in business for 10 years and he's making like first year mistakes. What are the trees saying? What are you talking about, dude? People just have crazy takeaways from the Viz sometimes, man. When people say, oh, but the Viz there, but TCB makes mistakes. Okay, what mistakes are on those levels? I don't know, man. And then even when TCB has like a slight thing where they're like, oh, we don't know what to translate this or that. The thing is, TCB typically admits it, like the whole LBAF spelling. They say it at the very end of the chapter. Oh, like this is the case. This is why we're doing this. For Viz, we assume it.
Wait.
And then TCB, they're like, oh, like this is how we translated it. This is how, it could be translated elsewhere. And then even like OP scans and other sites, like they at least write out their thought process on why they do certain things. But Viz, they don't do that because they want to be known as official. And I think that just hurts the community, man. This isn't like a Viz slander thing. It's Viz English. If you read Viz in other languages, you're probably fine. Apparently, they're doing pretty good. It's literally just a Stephen Paul issue. And then it's like, we brought this up last week. We said we wouldn't slander Viz, and here we are on a full-on hate train. But, like the whole line with like Loki and Shamrock, right? In Viz, they're like, Loki's like, I told you I can't move. And then Viz is like, oh, it doesn't change our question. But of course, in TCB, they're like, Shamrock says, oh, the result would be the same even if you could move. Implying that Shamrock could beat Loki no matter what. But in Viz, it makes it sound like Shamrock is just an interrogator. He's like, oh, just answer the question, please. And he doesn't address the fact that Loki can't move. And then, of course, other translators came out and said, no, the unofficial TCB is actually correct. Like, there's been so many instances where, like, Viz will actively change the story.
And again, you'd only the main problem too, which is why me and Sai say read as many
all the
translations, read the raws, is because if you are only loyal to the Viz and you only read the Viz, then your worldview, or not worldview, sorry, your One Piece view is that Luffy would beat up Sanji and Zoro for disagreeing with Loki being on the crew. You think that for some reason Ida's brain dead here and asking her toddler son to produce her baby daddy's baby mama's child that she just gave birth to. Like, why would Ida be saying that? It's some crazy thing, like it's.
And don't forget King Figarland Garling of God's Valley.
Oh, that one was
that one stemmed. That one brought forth like a bunch of theories, and then like obviously the Viz kind of like, wait, what? Like, what's going on here? Oh yeah, and then Viz is also bad with double meanings as well.
Yeah.
Like Saul's demon excursion punch or something like that. Exorcism punch. Like I said, a value of TCB is that they tell you why they translate things a certain way. And if there's a double meaning, they usually write it out. But for Viz, they pick their meaning and then they just kind of go with it. They don't give you the nuance. Like we don't. So in Viz, they translate Saul's demon punch to midterm X slam, which is cool. It sounds fun. But one, that's not the correct translation in that way. But also, we're missing like the nuance of like the demon killing punch.
Yeah.
And then same with like Scopper's attack, right, against Sommers as well. Like we lose a lot of the double meaning, and that's the value of TCB because they say, hey, like we translate it as this, but it could also be this or that, yada yada. So yeah,
you wouldn't get an essence that Japanese, especially Japanese, and especially Oda as a writer plays heavily on double entendres, triple entendres, even multilingual entendres. So like this is something that you'd miss largely because you're not getting it'd be the same thing if I'm speaking to someone, right? Like if I go to another country and I verbatim translated something, I would 100% get my friend who's fluent in that language to be like, yeah, that's what it means, but like they said it in an endearing way, so that's why it's not like, this isn't the meaning, like, and we have that in English too. If you were to translate a lot of English verbatim, you'd miss so much meaning, which is like, people are like, yeah, that's why, marriages have a lot of text, or relationships text fights, because you just like didn't understand each other through text. So, a lot of people
like,
voice message.
An example is like, in TCB chapter 1149, Scomper uses an attack called Futen Raku. TCB translates it just as Futen Raku, but they also add like their explanation for it. They say this may be a play on words of Iten Raku, referring to a musical composition for Japanese nobles. So we get like the full context of like what that's supposed to mean. And then for Viz, they just say Act Symphony and nothing else.
Yeah.
Like we don't really know like the name of it, which of course, like when we get there, it's gonna be like, Futen Raku. And then we don't know like where that even comes from, the play on words.
Yeah. So
like I said, there's value in reading multiple translations, but if you had to pick one, pick a Scanlation site. Like it doesn't have to be TCB. People think we're like paid by TCB at times, but we're not. Find a different site.
Damn. If they, I heard they made. Never mind.
If you think we're shills for TCB, you can find a different site. I mean, I'd recommend that over that. It's as simple as that.
Or make a Japanese friend. You can always do that too.
Yeah, make a Japanese friend, but make sure the Japanese friend knows One Piece, because that changes things too.
That does. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Because I remember I ran into the first Japanese person I saw, said, hey, can you translate this? And they're like, oh, I don't know the context. So it's like, okay, now I need to read this.
Oh, they're a real one. They could have just hit you with some bullshit, and you could have posted that on your thing, like used him as a thing. He's like, nah, brother, Japanese all context. I don't know that 1 piece, 2 piece shit. Oh, question. I was meaning to ask you this. Is that a bear in the bottom panel?
Oh yeah, I think that's a bear.
What? So like did he fall off this isn't, because like there's trees, so he fell off and hit the snow, and then there's a bear. Is that what it is? Because that's the side. Like so there's the big baby climbing the tree, right? And then there's the panel where he's saying Gaga, like, and then there's the side of the tree, or the side of the jeweled tree atom, and then you see trees at the bottom, right? And the next panel is like a blob that presumably is Loki, and then this other thing that people were saying is a bear. I didn't see a bear, but like I can see why they would say it's a bear, but they're like, oh look, that's the bear that like Big Mom killed or whatever. But like the perspective is that they fell, right? Because there's not trees growing off of the jewel tree atom. They're on the ground, and the trees are growing up. You see the trees at the bottom of the perspective.
Wait, what do you... you lost me, brother. Wait, what are you talking about?
You see the page where it says chapter 1153 end, break week next week?
Yes.
That's a viewpoint top down. Yes?
Yes.
Like they are on the ground there, not on the side of the tree climbing.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So they fell. Right?
What do you mean they fell?
Because like Loki's climbing up the tree. He's climbing up the tree. And then there's an image of them on the ground. Is that an image of them, the Loki and the bear on the ground because they fell off the tree? Loki was trying to climb up the tree and then fell back down? Or what is that?
No.
Oh, then what is that?
No, Loki is not in that panel. It's just the bear. It's decapitated.
Oh, a decapitated bear.
Yeah, because you can see the teeth. Or like you could see like the it's like a head and then a body. It's not Loki. Yeah, so you see Loki climbing the tree. You zoom out, you see the tree, and then you look top down, and you see the dead body of the bear.
So did one day
Loki is not there.
Yeah, so this is day one. Loki already killed the bear.
Decapitating a bear. Yes.
Do you think that's off of his eyes? He surely didn't use his arms.
I don't know. I mean, there is a reality where he just like slapped him around, or like maybe just accidentally killed him. Or there is also a chance that, yeah, like you said, the eye powers came into play and it killed the bear.
Yeah, because that might be the inkling of what the eye power is. I didn't register. I see it now. The decapitated bear. I understand it. See this. So they brought this to me on stream, and I literally didn't get it. And I was like in the middle of like either saying something or was reading chat or whatever. So I didn't want to derail. I literally go, I'm just gonna wait for Sai to explain this to me because I'm sure he'll be able to speak reason to me here because I'm not understanding the text that you guys are writing. But now I see it. Decapitated thing. So he killed this thing. He didn't eat it. This is like in Jurassic World where they found the Jigo. The what?
Sorry, I'm looking through my comments section, and somebody says the Viz has Ida asking Hardin if she can go see Baby Loki. +1 for the Mosa is Ida theories. It's like, no! No! Another Viz victim! Oh my god.
Your video?
Oh yeah. That's crazy, man.
Literally, no, that was really important because that is our point, right? Like that as a reader, we think we're reading the same thing, but there are a handful, if not that handful that reads just Viz is much bigger than the one that reads both or just scanlations. And so then the minority thought is that she's being normal and asking Hardin, do you want to see your little brother? And Hardin's like, that's not my brother, mama. He didn't come from you. That's a much more normal conversation than, hey, Hardin, can I see your baby brother? It's like, wait, what? What the fuck, lady? Like, I literally think Ida would need to be like checked up on. I'd book an appointment immediately. It's like, this lady kind of crazy. She's cooking it. But yeah, so then we have to engage with that. You know what I mean? And it's less problematic for more problematic for the statements of that reader, that commenter, probably thinks that Luffy would beat up everyone for Loki.
Yeah. So I have one person saying something about the TCB translation. They say, it's from last week's video, shoutouts to Ice Fisher Tenacity. They say, Viz does make some mistakes, but if you always went with TCB, people would erroneously think Harold was a part of the giant pirate's crew. Where was that? I don't think the TCB ever said that King Harald was a part of the giant warrior crew. I went back to the King Harald introduction. They never said that. Like, I'm looking at last chapter and even the chapter where King Harald was first talked about, or not first talked about, where we saw like his portrait.
The bottom, too.
Yeah, nobody's saying that TCB's never said that King Harald was a part of the giant warrior crew. I've never seen anybody even talk about that.
TCB at the end where they go, if you ask anyone what the scariest thing on the sea is, the answer would always be the same: the giant warrior pirates. And it's their ship, the thing, whatever, and the next line is Harold. It's the giant ship.
I guess you could spin it because like they don't say also, but they say that he was one of the reasons for said reputation, meaning Elbaf's reputation, and then they introduced King Harald. So at least when I first read this, because I didn't read the Viz by that point, logically, I already separated the giant warrior pirates and King Harald because they're two separate things.
Yeah, I looked at it and I forget my reaction, but like the pictures are important here because in the Viz, they say the giant pirate crew. I don't think it's meaning wise like that different than what TCB said. But it's the picture that says it. On the image where it said the giant warrior pirates, it's the captains that we know that were the captains of the giant warrior pirates over 100 years ago, Dorian Brogy, and then the king. And so I looked at it the same. I'm assuming the same way you were, whereas that like he's the king, and they're the giant warrior pirates, and he like as the king, can just go up on the ship, and yes, he's stronger than them, whatever. But it's their pirate crew. You know what I mean? They're the captains of it, and we know that they were the captains of it. At no point did it ever say that Harold was the captain.
No,
right? Or did it? Did it say that was
No.
captain? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe it's just like from a previous King Harold mention, but yeah, based off of last chapter at least,
maybe
like
I'm
it's just they call him king, like he's not a part of the giant warrior pirates.
Yeah.
Like I said, TCB isn't perfect. You need to read multiple translations, but at the same point, TCB is generally more correct than the Viz. And you could even say that I think the Viz is more correct than the Viz, right? Like it's not like all the Viz is wrong. No. Viz Spanish, dude. Go read Viz Spanish. Go read Viz French. Just read different Viz Russian, even like Viz German. Read the different Vizes. It's really just Viz English that has this problem. Like it's really just here in America, brother. Like just, if you're a different language speaker, I think the Viz is very, very like top tier then. But as far as English goes, maybe not so much. I like how this past hour is just nothing but Viz TCB talk.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to happen over and over again, especially when it's things like this. Because, like, this one's more or less a harmless one, right? Like, this one's like an Ida. Last one
This one is still kind of funny, though.
I would still say, yeah, this one's funny. Last one was less harmless, but not painful, because it's like, I think I can easily have a conversation with someone and just be like, does it really make sense to you that Luffy would beat up people for Loki's sake? And they would rationalize and be like, you're right. That translation I read most likely was wrong. And that might actually be a good thing, right? But there are some ones that are very, like, there's some ones that I obviously can't put up on the top of my head, but it's like the consistent slights that start painting a picture of detail that's different, and now my and someone else's understanding of a character like Ida or Luffy or Loki are different, all because of like this perspective of Ida like asking Hayden for permission. It's like, you could, if you were to make a video on that or speak on it, it's like, oh, Ida really respected Hayden's authority even as a child. Look, she even asked him for permission to see children that like her lover gave birth to, like, and it's like, if you went with the Viz translations, I could see what you're saying, but I'd be like, what the fuck? Like, that's a weird, why was she respecting his authority? I'd question it through and through for sure. But yeah, now because I missed the bear thing. The eye thing is so cool, interesting. I feel like it's the bear, like that's what decapitated the bear thing. Obviously you don't know, that's just my guess, but I'm looking at it. That'd be kind of sick. It would also be crazy if he just did it while he was 1 day.
That would be nuts.
Yeah, both are nuts, but I think one is like kind of just cool, less nuts, more cool, like cashews, and the other one's almonds. A little hard to swallow, a little more digestion going on there. Yeah, damn, and he can survive the cold. He got cold resistance. He's doing it. Him succeeding. He did a pre-time skip Luffy feat.
Yeah, climbing the tree, climbing the Drum Island. Yeah. Or Drum Peaks, I don't even know what to call them.
Yeah.
I don't even know what those are. People are saying you're going to thaw it out and see something underneath. I think that's kind of cool.
The drum
Yeah,
Rockies.
people are saying it's a drum set, and Luffy's going to slap him around later.
Yeah, I like that one. A lot of versions. That could be all jewel tree atoms that are fossilified.
Yeah.
Could be that. Over the centuries.
Could even be like frozen versions of the Thriller Bark monsters.
Oh,
the Florian Triangle
gotcha,
monsters, which are like giant weird pillars with eyes. Maybe this is them on the island, but they're just frozen. And then you thaw it out and they just come to life again. That'd be kind of crazy, actually. Imagine living on a monster and you just don't know.
Yeah, some people believe that's what we're doing right now on Earth. They'd rather believe like we're on the... I mean, today, like the flat Earth, there's like the connection. It's like, brother, we're on a turtle. And it's like, I get the turtle
like
part.
Some kind of like mythos? Yeah, like we're on a turtle. That's
Yeah.
funny.
I get the mythos
Is that
part,
Chinese?
but then like, I think a lot of the world turtle. I think even Norse mythology has a like we're on the animals. I mean, we have the
Oh
world
yeah,
tree, but the world tree
it's a
sits on.
worldwide myth. Yeah, a lot of cultures have that.
Yeah, the turtle, the big boy turtle. But if you were to use that theory to combat the Earth being round in today's age, that's a very different conversation than, back in the day, all the people liking like that. That to me, like it's a worldwide myth. That sounds like one guy tried really hard and he succeeded, and everyone just kind of agreed, like, yeah, it'd be kind of sick if we were on a turtle. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not mad at that. Let that one rock. Let's adopt
Let
that into
that one
our
go.
ideology.
That'd be kind of fun.
Yeah. Let's let that one cook. Yeah. Why am I gonna be mad at this? This guy just likes turtles. We're gonna hate that guy?
Unless you're like a turtle eater. I like eating turtles.
Have you had turtle? Is it like frog?
No, usually it's just like in a soup. So like when you eat frog, it's like frog legs. It's fried or something. Turtle is typically just soup.
Oh, so it's like lobster bisque? Like
no, not as creamy as lobster bisque. It's like a rough soup.
Like, do you like bite into turtle? Versus it's just like a consistency of the
You
soup.
bite into turtle, yes, but it's like typically
and what is
soft shell turtle.
Like?
Just like meat.
But like, what kind? Is it like oyster?
No, not like oyster.
Or
it's
is it like chicken?
I guess you could say chicken, like water chicken.
Water chicken? So like tofu?
No, tofu's like very spongy. Tofu's very soft. I think water chicken's it's not a bad way to put it. Water chicken.
Water chicken?
Yeah.
Wait, so then what's frog to you?
It's frog.
What would you describe? Yeah, because that to me was
I mean that's why
chicken.
like frog to me is just frog. Turtles is just turtle. So when you ask to like describe it with another animal, it's like it's hard to do that.
Yeah, like make an analogy. You know what I mean? Like,
I can't.
Someone who hasn't had turtle, what's it like?
Turtle, man.
Like nothing else.
Just have some turtle, man. It's like alligator,
What about? Oh, is it like Jello?
No.
Is biting it like
you keep
Jell-O
on bringing up these spongy, soft things. You said oysters, you said tofu, and now you're saying Jello. It doesn't have the same consistency as Jello, or it's not soft or gelatinous.
Jello spongy?
Yeah, it's not gelatinous.
Well, you say water chicken. I'm thinking like a bag.
Just think of okay. Like just think of chicken, but it has like a sea flavor to it. I'm not meaning like chicken is watery per se. I mean like it has like the taste of the ocean to the chicken. Not like it's like water chicken. You bite into it and like water juices like flow into your mouth. I meant like it's like ocean flavored chicken. I guess that's my fault for saying water chicken. I was hoping you know what that meant.
Yeah, I don't like the ocean flavor, so that's my problem. So I wouldn't like turtle. I mean, I didn't like frog too much, but frog didn't taste like it. It felt like chicken, but didn't taste like anything really, because the way I had it was like in a broth, in like a hot pot. But it didn't taste like grainy like chicken. Like you can taste the fibers in, like you can feel the fibers in the chicken when you rip apart. The frog didn't have it like that. It was different. So I imagine turtles like that, but like probably more. Probably.
I wonder.
Marinated more.
I wonder what they're gonna translate Killingham's monsters to. I'm going through the Viz right now. What do you think Crunchyroll or like the Japanese dub is gonna call Killingham's monsters? Because apparently it's like MMA or MMAs.
Yeah, I like Dream Demons. That's my
Dream
favorite.
Demons is cool.
I love it.
Right now, Viz English is going with Sleep Tids.
Cryptids.
Yeah. But it's like, I don't know. Like, what do you... Because it's like a made-up word.
I want Dream Demons. Dream Demons is that's one that like, I've never heard that in another series. Dream Demons, because you associate demons with nightmares. So, like, him calling them Dream Demons is kind of sick.
Yeah, let me see. What is...
Especially because that's the prevailing theory for if I were to put a list of what the D stood for, two top one would be dreams, and demons. So making these the dream demons would be kind of awesome.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. Yeah, in Japanese, it's just MMAs or mumas.
Oh, because when you see them, you go, you make that sound like, you
Oh,
know?
that's funny. I'm looking at the wiki. They have like the Japanese translation, which is muma, and then they have like. But by the way, Viz translates this differently to sleep tids. Huh. MMAs.
Interesting.
Yeah. It's a play on like Pokemon, apparently. Yeah, I feel like that's gonna be a weird one to translate. Like, how do you pronounce that?
Yeah.
But anyways, that is it for today, guys. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you to Par, as per usual, for spending your time on the Parcast. And hopefully you guys enjoyed it. We got a break week this week, so stay tuned. We will have like a 50-50 probably Kagurabachi breakdown as per every break week. So we'll catch you guys then. But until then, though, you guys take care. And we'll catch you all when the next chapter drops. Peace out, y'all.